O'Day and O'Flanagan, Propaganda Incorporated. Mr. O'Flanagan? I'm sorry, but Mr. O'Flanagan isn't here today. Who's calling? Professor Mervyn S. Polydonius? Pardon me, neighbor, but is that a name or a new shade of nail polish? Oh, you're a dermatologist. Well, fancy that. The man you want to see is our gullible vice president, Mr. Shamrock O'Day. He believes in everything from Santa Claus to vacant apartments. I'll make an appointment for you. Meanwhile, good luck.
Vigoro, now Devil May Care theme introduces a program of smiles, The Luck of the Irish, featuring your lucky star, Chester Morris as Shamrock O'Day, radio's gift to Gab, who gives you his slogan for success. Quote, "Remember, folks, if you don't tell them, you can't sell them." Unquote. And so, our sponsor invites you to draw up a horseshoe and enjoy tonight's hilarious chapter in The Luck of the Irish, entitled, Harrigan for Harrigan. Suffering Chopin. Every time I exercise my cornet, that slave driver of a secretary gives me the get busy signal. She has no appreciation of art. With Agatha, it's always business. Business. Business? Faith, and what am I talking about? We haven't had any in 2 weeks. Shamrock O'Day speaking. Just call me Sham for short.
Though I didn't know it by heart. Save that sales routine for your victims and your music for Beethoven.
But Agatha, Beethoven is dead.
You catch on quick. Of course, not that it matters to a great musician like you, Maestro, but a bankroll just walked in.
Well, no wonder my palm's been itching all morning. Who is this sucker? I mean, the brave man.
He's a funny-looking hair specialist with a beard.
That's all, sister. Tell him to go back tomorrow.
Oh, but you don't
No,
understand.
make it next week.
The man has $10,000.
Tell him to take it and 10 grand. Is it real money or homemade?
How would I know? I haven't been paid for 3 weeks.
Always griping. What's this plutocrat look like?
Well, over the beard, he has FBI's.
Uh-oh. Send him in. On second thought, rope him and push him in. After all, a bird in the hand is worth. Now, let's see. I'd better brush up a bit. How do you do, Mr. No, that's too formal. How's tricks, Tom? Dick? Harry?
No, not Harry. It's Professor Mervyn S. Polydonius.
Well, come right in, Professor, and park the Polydonius. You know, I almost mistook you for Monty Woolley.
Sir, you are speaking of the beard I love. Can we converse in the utmost secrecy?
Can we? Why, for 10 grand, I'd even converse in shorthand. And speaking of being shorthanded reminds me, Miss Crump, where's my silent partner, Mr. O'Flanagan, today?
He's home, as usual, recuperating.
I see. Overexertion?
Ha! Overindulgence.
Rather temperamental old hag, isn't it?
Yea, verily.
Yes. You see, she's got a complex about being in love with O'Flanagan. And besides, she's cracked on the subject of astrology.
Oh, so she's crazy about the stars.
Oh, yes. Frankenstein, Dracula, Lassie.
Yes, of course. But, look, O'Day, are you quite sure that we're alone?
Well, positive.
Just you, me, and, well, this large collection of antique musical instruments.
Sounds, you play all of them?
Shh, not so loud. Petrillo might hear you. And now, Professor, suppose we quit beating around your bush and start swindling each other, huh?
Mr. O'Day, you're a man after my own heart.
And that ain't all, Prof.
Tell me, is it true that for, shall we say, a substantial fee that you will publicize anything?
Well, anything legitimate, yes. Of course, I'm not narrow-minded about it.
Eureka! An honest man.
Yes, sir. Just as honest as O'Day is long. Oh, no good, huh?
Yea, good heavens, no. No. Now, tell me, just what successful campaigns have you ever handled before?
Are you kidding? Why, say, I built up the Grand Canyon from a covered wagon rut.
Incredible!
When I took over the Empire State Building, it was only a bungalow.
Stupendous!
And Pikes Peak was just a teeny-weeny pimple. And Senator Claghorn was only a whisper.
Remarkable, my dear fellow.
Yes, I am.
Well, I see that we both speak the same exaggerations.
Well, why not? Why not? Birds of a feather flock.
Yea, verily.
Now, look, Prof, before the air gets any thicker in here, let's face it. Just what is your racket?
Racket? Why, sir, I am engaged in a worthy enterprise. I have developed an amazing formula that will net $1 billion.
Wow, that ain't hay.
No, it ain't. Or isn't. It's hair.
Come again?
Hair, my friend. Acres of hair. Just think. Millions of bald heads are crying out for protection against, a hailstorm.
Personally, I prefer an ice bag.
No. Well, I'm referring to hair. Hair for all mankind. Luxuriant, healthy, abundant hair. And all this in just one application.
Oh, brother. Well, why, for centuries, science has failed to grow hair.
Ah, true, my cynical friend. Take a look at this snapshot. Do you know what that is?
Wait a minute now. It looks like a Scotch collie.
A Scotch collie. Listen, my dear fellow. Before applying my formula on this dog, it was a Mexican hairless.
Worra. Why is no Flanagan ever here when I walk into these booby traps?
Then, sir, you refuse to publicize my phenomenal discovery?
Definitely. After all, I'm a man of unquestioned integrity.
Very well, then, Mr. Honest O'Day. I shall take my $10,000 elsewhere. And let me bid you a fond and unprofitable farewell.
Hey, Professor, hold everything.
Sorry. Too late. The die is cast.
Yeah, and you win. Oh, come on, Agatha, old girl, perk up. O'Day and O'Flanagan are back in the chips again.
I'll settle for just my back salary.
Oh, now, don't be greedy. You're just worn out, that's all. You know, what you need is a nice, long vacation.
With pay?
Now, you see, you look better already. Now, get O'Flanagan on the phone. He'll get a big kick out of the good news.
Maybe. But according to the planets in your horoscope, this isn't your good day. Jupiter's in decline and Mercury is ascending.
It is? Well, no wonder I feel warm.
Such humor. I'll certainly be glad when Mr. O'Flanagan is well enough to take charge of this madhouse.
You're pretty sweet on the old boy, aren't you?
So what? Here's your better half.
Thanks. Hello, O'Flanagan?
Yep.
Did I wake you up?
Yep.
Oh, well, that's tough. But listen, I've just launched the biggest deal of our career. A new miracle scalp tonic that grows hair like alfalfa. It'll make $1 million. And I got a $10,000 check in advance.
Certified?
Of course not. Don't you know you should never look a gift horse in the South?
Okay.
Oh, so that's it. Indigestion. Anyway, how's about showing a little enthusiasm? Fine. That's just the pep talk I needed. And they nicknamed you Gabby O'Flanagan. Oh, brother, what an ad he'd make for sleeping tablets. Oh, and speak of the devil, in walks an angel. The top of the morning to you, Penelope, me darling. The fairest Colleen these old eyes ever did see.
Oh, don't try to blarney me with that corny brogue.
Oh, come on. Smile, Penny. Now, what's eating you?
It's from not eating.
Hmm?
Why didn't you keep our luncheon date?
You mean we had a date?
Yes, today, and 3 last week.
Oh.
You missed them all.
Oh, what a devil of a way for a man to treat his fiancée. Keeping her on a diet. You know, sure it is sorry I am.
You certainly brogue easily.
Okay, Dumpling. Well, what would you say if I told you that overnight, mind you, you'd be dripping with ermine, sagging with pearls, oozing with bank accounts?
Faith, and I'd say, worda.
But this time I mean it, Penny. And it's your big chance to help me.
Now it comes. All right. How much this time?
Well, please, Miss Carter. All I want is a name.
A name?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's wrong with Shamrock O'Day?
No, I mean a trade name for a tonic that's guaranteed to grow hair on the Sahara Desert.
Oh, good grief. Don't tell me.
No, wait. I know it sounds crazy, but just cooperate, will you? Now, quick. A name that'll sell the product. Something simple.
Well, let's see. How about, Hair On?
Hair On?
Mm-hmm.
Hair On!
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, Penny, you're divine. I love you. I can see it all now. Billboards from coast to coast reading, from here on, use Hair On. Why, it'll be sensational. National newspaper advertising, a gigantic radio hookup, a terrific...
A terrific what?
You know, that's funny. I always get as far as terrific, and then I run out of ideas.
You're slipping. When we first met, you said I was terrific, and it gave you a lot of ideas.
Well, it's just kid stuff. Oh, but seriously, Penny, now to open this campaign with a big wallop, we've got to stage some publicity stunt that'll attract nationwide attention.
You mean something like...
Bingo. I've got it.
I hope it isn't contagious.
Now, look, baby, we'll high-pressure some big shot with a ball dome to give a public demonstration in a place like the Civic Auditorium.
Oh, let's not be petty. Why not the Rose Bowl?
Rose Bowl? No, too drafty. No. You see, it's got to be a warm place because admission will be by bald head only.
That I've got to see. Just imagine a whole audience composed of 5,000 neon scalps.
Well, now you're on the beam.
Yes, I am. But does O'Flanagan know about this?
Oh, what? I hope not. It'd make the old boy turn over in his bed. But say, we've got to get somebody to attempt the experiment.
Well, why not ask Alexander Harrigan? He's the pioneer type.
Harrigan? I never heard of the guy.
Well, he's the dean of the Bedwell Barbers College.
Oh.
I heard him lecture once. Think what his testimonial would be.
Well, that's a colossal idea. I can just visualize those 10-inch headlines. Hair again for Harrigan. Or begonias bloom on Barber's Beezer.
Anyway, it sounds lyrical.
Lyrical? Say, that gives me an idea for a snappy singing commercial.
Don't sing.
Okay, darling. But are you sure this Harrigan is bald?
Well, no, he isn't.
Oh.
But his thatch is getting thin on top, just begging for a toupee.
That's all I want to know. And the old boy won't ever have to worry about a wig. Because when I get through selling Dean Harrigan hair on, he'll look like Lady Godiva with slacks on. And so,
Come in. Won't you please step over here and be seated, Mr.
Shamrock O'Day is the name. Sham for short.
Really? That's very clever.
Yes, isn't it?
Care for a cigar?
Why, yes, thanks. Personally, I chew pipe stems, but my secretary enjoys them. Weird sort of a girl.
Yes, mine has her peculiarities, too. She's rather gossipy and mercenary. You know.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Now, Mr. O'Day, I don't want to seem brusque, but I'm a very busy man.
Ditto, so I'll make it snappy. I'm here, Dean Harrigan, to acquaint you with the greatest discovery of the 20th century. Hair on.
Hair on? Well, my dear chap, we barbers are interested in removing hair, not in putting it on.
Of course. But if I can put more hair on, you barbers will have just that much more to cut off.
No, see here, O'Day, stop talking nonsense.
Okay, you're asking for it. Dean Alexander Harrigan, that almost bald dome of yours is an everlasting disgrace to the fair name of Bedwell Barbers College. Or you're practically a nudist.
Why, you... How dare you raise your voice to me?
Uh-huh. So you want to hush it up, do you?
That's utterly ridiculous. My life is an open book.
Sure it is. But how about the illustrations?
Illustrations?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. O'Day, by any chance has that secretary of mine been gossiping about me?
It's a lie. I didn't tell everything. I only said your hair's falling out and grow.
Why, you eavesdropping again.
You see, Harrigan, a little rumor can start innocently, just like this, and wind up with your resignation as dean.
Confound that girl. Winnie, you're fired.
Oh, yeah? Maybe you don't remember those snapshots we took at the beach last summer, Daddy.
Oh, why, Daddy, you old Casanova.
O'Day, you're an unscrupulous rascal. You must have bribed that Winnie person. She's money-minded.
You're telling me?
Let's cut out this fiddle-faddle. Just what are you after?
I'm after your scalp.
What?
Your scalp. I'm going to grow a thick head of hair on it in just one application. And then I want your endorsement of this miracle tonic, Hair On. And money is no object.
Oh, so now you're even trying to bribe me.
Oh, Dean, you wound me. After all, isn't a hero of science worthy of his reward?
Hero?
Sure.
Well, of course, since you put it that way.
Of course, and who knows? A speech at the Civic Auditorium by you.
A speech? You know, O'Day, the more I think about this, the more I'm inclined to...
Yes?
No, never.
Oh, a problem child, huh? Well, if you don't want to be a hero, if you don't want that $1,000 bonus...
A bonus? No, I won't risk it.
Okay, you don't deserve it, but I'll be big. When you finish your demonstration tomorrow night, I'll make you a present of those beach snapshots.
What?
Mm-hmm. You see, I bought them from Winnie for $25. I dream of Deanie with the light brown hair.
Dan, please.
Oh, okay, Penny, me love. I was just rehearsing our theme song.
Theme song?
Mm-hmm. In honor of Deanie Harrigan without the light brown hair.
Oh.
You see, tonight he sacrifices himself as a guinea pig in the name of ball-painted humanity. And, incidentally, I hope I'm not boring you, Professor.
Yay, no, not at all, not at all.
Well, thanks.
Look, Shem, before you plunge any deeper into this hair tonic, hadn't you better check with O'Flanagan?
Say, you're right. I forgot all about that old blondie from Killarney, and it's almost deadline, too. Oh, Agatha.
Whatever it is, I'm against it.
Sweet kid. Yeah. Get my silent sleeping partner on the phone, will you?
All right, but it's a mistake. The moon is in Taurus and Saturn is opposed to Venus.
Saturn must be getting old if he's opposed to Venus.
Maybe he prefers a girl with arms.
A girl with arms, yes. And pretty legs like yours?
Well, thanks. Mr. O'Flanagan is yawning at his end of the line.
Yeah, just full of vitamins. Hello? O'Flanagan?
Yep.
Did I wake you up?
Yep.
Oh, so sorry. But I'm making a final report before we take off.
Okay.
Heartburn, huh? I'm glad to hear you're normal again. Well, the auditorium's packed to the doors. Everything's all set for tonight's big kickoff.
Why?
Why, he says. Oh, it's laryngitis. Well, take another gargle for me, for luck. So long. Agatha, you and Penny hold down the hideout. Come on, Professor. We've just got time to make the auditorium.
Oh, hey, wait a second. There's a letter here I haven't opened yet from the bank.
Can't stop to read it now. Tell Mr. First National I'll see him first thing tomorrow and deposit my first million. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm sorry, my error. Baldness is strictly a stag affair. But seriously, fellas, seriously, since this doesn't concern the ladies, we'll just skip the glamour talk. You all know why we're here, so let me introduce two of our outstanding civic benefactors. On my right, Alexander Harrigan, Dean of the Bedwell Barbers. Come.
Thank you, fellow citizens. Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking.
Thank you, Dean. And now... now on my left, a famous dermatologist, Professor Mervyn S. Polydonius. The professor doesn't speak English, so I'll just ask him to take a bow. Take a deep bow, Professor. That's deep enough. And now, gentlemen, the professor will anoint the dean with hair on. Hair on! The miracle mucilage that grows new straws in your old broom. And in just one application. Well, are you ready, Dean?
Ready. Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you. And now, Professor, are you ready?
Si, senor.
All right, then. Now, brace yourselves. Professor, turn on the juice.
His scalp sounds a little rusty.
Yes, he probably had water on the brain.
Help! 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 I'm being robbed! It's grand larceny! Arrest these folks! Help!
Ye gods, Prof, look at the dean. He hasn't got a hair left on his dome.
Mr. O'Day.
Sam, darling, what happened? Your shirt's ripped. Your hair.
Never mention the word hair again.
But where's the professor?
Oh, he took a powder, and I hope it's arsenic. Oh, we're ruined. And you, Agatha, your double-crossing stars put the jinx on me.
It wasn't the stars. It was the First National Bank.
Now what?
The professor's check bounced.
Oh, that's all I needed.
Oh, cheer up, Sam, darling.
Yeah, I'd cheer up with both fists if I could just meet the mick who invented that bromide about Irish luck.
Oh, which reminds me. Mr. O'Flanagan said to call him. He's awake.
Oh, he is he? Well, a big fathead. Give me that phone.
Yes, sir. My, is he mad.
Shut up! I'll tell that Rip Van Winkle a thing or three. Huh. He snores while I sweat. I'll give him a piece of my mind. I'll give him... Hello? O'Flanagan?
Yep.
Well, nice to know you're convalescing.
Yep.
Swell. And here's a nice little relapse for you. We're hopping the first plane for the Mexican border.
Why?
Because gangrene set in. You don't know what happened.
Sure, I know. I was there.
Well, suffering silence. The Sphinx speaks. Pray go on, O'Flanagan. This may never happen again.
Yep. I saw the guy's hair fall out in 10 seconds. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks. With your screwball Irish luck and my brains, we've stumbled on a gold mine.
You mean hair on?
Yeah, that's right, but the name is wrong. From now on, every time you turn on the radio, what do you think you'll hear?
I give up. What?
We interrupt our musical program to bring you a special announcement by transcription. Ladies, do you look like a grizzly bear? You do? Well, don't. Superfluous hair is revolting.
Ladies, listen, don't allow cowlick on your pencil brow. Don't use tweezers, that's insane. Hair off them without pain. Ladies, listen,
sponsor invites you to another Blarney session at the same time next week. Starring Chester Morris and with musical direction by Vern Buck, The Luck of the Irish is written and produced by Gene Burdett.
O'Day and O'Flanagan, Propaganda Incorporated. Who? Oh, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Audience. Next week, Shamrock O'Day collides with a local vocal yokel, the toneless tenor with tonsil control. He's a scream, and you will, too. Meanwhile, good luck.
This is the Happy-Go-Lucky Broadcasting Network.
The Adventures of the Scarlet Cloak, starring Wendell Niles.
This is a story of the Golden West, as it was more than 100 years ago. A land of mystery and intrigue. A romantic paradise where the dons and senoritas held to their ancient customs while rubbing elbows with rugged American frontiersmen and pioneers. Where lace-trimmed handkerchiefs from Barcelona were carried next to the heart under crude buckskin jackets. The territory was a melting pot, quiet on the surface like the Pacific, but torn with undercurrents and riptides. It was a restless and growing land, where the strong made their own laws and the weak obeyed or perished. This is the saga of Brad Carver, a fabulous man in a fabulous land. Some called him an angel, some called him a devil, and many claimed that he never lived at all. But the story of Brad Carver is as colorful and exciting as were his roaring guns and flashing rapier as he cut a flaming swath through this glorious land. Our story starts in October of 1842, as a dusty and battered wagon train at the end of the Santa Fe Trail paused within sight of a settlement of 200 people.
Oh, hold your teams, hold 'em!
Well, we made it, Carver. Los Angeles dead ahead.
So that's Los Angeles. Doesn't look like much, McKeever.
Well, I guess it ain't Boston, Carver. But it's going to be a mighty big city one day. And it looks good to me right now after 3,000 miles of prairie and Indians and mountains and desert.
It still doesn't look like much to me. Well, this is where you and I park, McKeever.
Where you striking for?
North. Monterey.
I'm heading north myself, San Francisco. As soon as I get these folks in and settled. I'll ride along with you if you're willing.
Sure, McKeever. Thought maybe you'd had enough of me.
Look, Carver, when we started out, you was just another Boston tea drinker to me. But back there on the trail, you proved I was wrong when the going got rough, and I'm admitting it. So do we ride together or don't we?
We ride together, McKeever.
Good. We'll hit the trail as soon as we get the train into town.
Come on! We're moving!
Get up, everybody!
Get up!
I ain't one for asking a man questions, Carver. But you're in a powerful hurry to get to Monterey.
I haven't been there in 20 years. I've got an old score to settle.
Old score? You couldn't have been more than a kid 20 years ago.
I was old enough to remember my home on fire, my mother and father murdered.
I'm sorry, Carver. It can be a bad country. You're lucky they didn't get you.
They would have, except for the loyalty of a Mexican named Sancho who worked for my family. I don't know what happened to him afterwards, but he got me to San Francisco and put me on a ship that took me to my father's people in Boston.
You know who murdered your folks?
No. They rode in at night with their faces covered. My father wounded the leader through the shoulder with a rapier, and one of the mob stabbed him in the back. I've got to find the leader.
Well, it won't be easy. He may be dead by now.
He may be. But if he isn't, he'll carry a rapier mark on his shoulder. If that man is alive, McKeever, I'm going to find him and kill him.
Now I know why we've been knocking on these ponies.
We'll switch mounts at the next station. I want to stay on the trail all night and make Monterey by dawn.
All right. Get up there, boy. The house? Near that grove of trees?
Yes. What's left of it. My mother and father are buried in the grove down there. That's the only news of them I ever had. Well, goodbye, McKeever.
If I thought I could help.
Thanks. It's my fight. I want to go down into the grove and be alone for a while.
If you ever come up to San Francisco...
I'll look you up. I promise.
Goodbye, and good luck.
Goodbye, McKeever.
Get up there, boy. Take care of yourself, Driver.
J. Carver, 1785... 1822. Priscilla Carver, 1795, 1822. Dear Lord, blessed be their memory.
Senor?
What are you doing here?
I just come to place the flowers on the graves, senor. These people, they were my friends.
Sancho, you must be Sancho.
Sí, senor, I am Sancho. But I do not recall ever seeing this senor before.
Sancho, you remember me. I'm Brad Carver.
Bradito? You are the little Brad Carver? Oh, Senor Brad.
Don't call me senor, not you, Sancho. I knew I'd find you.
Oh, I prayed this would happen. I have been living in the ruins of the old house, but you should not be near the house. You must go away from here. For a long time, they tried to find you. The men used to come at night.
But that was years ago. They wouldn't know me now.
Seeing you near the old house, they might suspect. A stranger come from nowhere. A stranger of your age. No, Bradito, you must go. They would kill you as they killed your father.
That's why I'm back, Sancho. Because they killed my father. And I'm going to stay.
Then you must go into town like any other stranger. Hey, there is an inn, the Inn of San Bonaventure. You must also change your name. You cannot use the name of Carver in Monterey.
You're right. At the inn, I'll be Senor Bradford.
Bueno, but we must not stand here talking. A rider might pass. Come, Bradito. I lead your horse, eh?
But you said being near the house is dangerous.
No, we do not go to the house. I will show you something that you never saw before. Even when you were a little boy. Hey, through the grove and behind these bushes, huh?
But this is the base of a cliff. It's solid rock.
No, not solid, Bradito. Here, you help me push this big rock here, huh?
All right. It's a cave.
See, but even without the rock, the bushes hide the entrance. It's best now to leave it open in case you should need shelter suddenly.
Let's go in.
Wait, I strike a light for you. Now you take the torch from the wall.
Sancho, these things. I remember them from the house.
See, Bradito. I say what I could so that one day you could have them. Here, look over here. The portraits of your mother and your father.
I never knew this cave existed. Nobody ever told me.
Your father wished it so. Only he and I knew. See. I see now by the portrait your resemblance to him.
My father.
See.
You know, Sancho, I never believed that anything could happen to him. He was strong, and that gave me faith. And you gave me more faith with your fairy tales.
Oh, I never told you fairy tales, Bradito.
You don't remember. The stories about El Diablo, the devil himself, and the Scarlet Cloak who came riding at night to punish the wicked. It's too bad your El Diablo wasn't around the night my father was killed, Sancho. A child builds up a lot of hope in a legend.
Bradito, El Diablo was not a legend. He defended the good against the bad.
Perhaps you're right. When stories are told often enough, people begin to believe them.
No, they were not just stories. I did not deceive you. Turn and look at the wall behind you.
Masks. Masks in the image of the devil.
See, and beneath the masks, a trunk. Open it.
Sancho.
Open it, Bradito, and know the truth.
A scarlet cloak, a black sombrero, and a rapier.
Do you remember, Bradito, when you were a little child? Bad men who did bad things in this land. Then one morning they would be found dead wearing the mask of the devil who had come to claim them. That was the work of El Diablo. And he lived in Monterrey while your father lived. Because, Bradito, your father was El Diablo.
El Diablo?
Si.
And that's why he was killed. Because they found out that he stood in the way of their robbing and plundering.
And they were strong enough to destroy him, and they will also destroy you. Bradito, you must go away, please.
No, Sancho. This cave is mine now. And so is my father's rapier.
But you have been raised in Boston. What do you know of such a weapon?
I lived in Europe, too, Sancho. I fenced with the greatest swordsmen in the world. Fenced with them until I could beat them. Because I knew that someday I must come back here to kill a man with a rapier. Now I have to find that man. Sancho, if I need you, I'll come here. But if you ever need me, ask for Senor Bradford at the Inn of St. Bonaventure.
You slept well, Senor Bradford?
Yes, very well. Say, what is that mob doing outside? Some kind of celebration?
No, senor. There is much trouble. American gunboats from your country, they are in the harbor of Monterrey. They have taken down the Mexican flag and put up the American colors.
Oh, I don't believe it. Not unless there's war.
We have heard nothing of a war, but they say other nations would like to seize California.
Oh, that's no secret. Half the world is after this territory.
I am Mexican, senor. But Mexico is weak, and his land is too big. Many of us would welcome the American flag. It is our hope for peace.
That mob outside doesn't seem to agree with you.
That mob outside is not led by Mexicans, senor. It is led by Americans.
Oh, really?
Si.
Say, if at times I don't return for the night, think nothing of it. But if I'm ever gone for more than 2 nights, there's a note for one of your countrymen under my pillow. Please deliver it.
Si, senor. Muchas gracias.
I like things the way they are here. I ain't aiming to see them change. They say they brought them gunboats in to protect the country. Protect it from what? I don't see nobody else trying to grab it. Maybe they're going to get more than they bargained for. I got men riding in from all over the countryside, men with guts and guns. Are you going to join them? Here comes some of them now. Girl, crossing the road. Look out, Ben. I'll get her.
That was fast moving, stranger.
She's fainted. Somebody get some water from the...
Catch it, Charlie. That gal's Maria Alvarez. There'll be the devil to pay for this.
There's always the devil to pay when a mob like this cuts loose.
Yeah, but this just isn't a girl, stranger. This is the niece of Don Raymond de la Torres, the richest man in California.
Thanks. Come on, miss. Drink this.
¿Qué pasó?
A horseman almost ran you down.
Yes, would have, too, if this fella hadn't grabbed you.
Oh, gracias. I will be all right now.
Let my horse through. Let me through. Maria, what has happened?
I was almost trampled, but this gentleman has saved me. My uncle, Don Ramon de la Torres. Senor?
Bradford.
I am most grateful, Senor Bradford. Who were the horsemen?
It isn't the horseman you want. Some madman named Daggett has been inciting this mob, or it wouldn't have happened.
Daggett! I'm here, Don Ramon.
Stand back! Clear a path from our horses.
Who gave you
the right to endanger the lives of the people of Monterey? Have you appointed yourself governor of this territory?
They changed the flag at the customs house, and we don't
And
like
you
it.
will let the officials determine what action is to be taken. Disperse this crowd at once, or I shall ask the governor to place you under arrest.
All right. I guess we made a mistake, man. The governor's job.
If you cannot stay in town peacefully, get out. Now move on. Move on, all of you.
You should not have come into town, my dear. Daggett is an impetuous fool.
I am all right, thanks to Senor Bradford. I have invited him to visit with us this evening.
By all means. You will be most welcome, senor. And we shall try to erase this sad impression of Monterey.
It's not Monterey I'm worried about, Don Ramon. It's that man Daggett. He was planning to lead an attack on the customs house tonight.
Oh, please, do not be so concerned. The mob has scattered. They will drink and gamble, and by night they will have forgotten. Now, come, Maria. I will take you home. Adios, Senor Bradford.
Adios, senor. Until tonight?
Until tonight.
Sancho.
I am here, Bratty.
There's trouble in town.
I know. I was there this morning. Senor Daggett finds their anger.
He was stopped by Don Ramon de la Torres. But I think he still plans to go through with an attack.
I do not think there will be an attack. Not in the town. If there is one, it will be out here in the country.
In the country?
See?
I don't understand.
Well, the American ships have cannon. They have also taken the cannon in the customs house. And Daggett knows that. An attack would be hopeless.
But why is he bringing in armed men from all over the countryside?
Well, perhaps to leave the countryside itself unprotected. Do you remember Don Castillo and the Senora, your father's old friends and neighbors?
Oh, of course I do.
They have been receiving threats. Somebody wishes to drive them from their land. There has been no open attack against them because they have more than 30 men working on their place. But tonight, Bradito, Daggett will have those men in town. The old couple will be alone.
You're right, Sancho. But they won't be alone.
Oh, Bradito, you are only one man. It will take the devil himself.
That's what I mean. El Diablo, the devil himself. Tonight I wear my father's scarlet cloak, black sombrero, and his rapier. If the Castillo Hacienda is attacked, it will be protected, just as it would have been 20 years ago, by El Diablo.
Let's take just a minute now to mention one or two of the many advantages this program provides for an astute advertiser. It's a Western-type story utilizing the basic success pattern of galloping horses, gunfights, and high adventure. However, through its authenticity, believability, and imaginative presentation, we have widened its appeal to attract the young and the adult audience. The locale of Monterey 100 years ago, which will be kept historically accurate, revives the romantic flavor of beautiful senoritas, colorful habits and costumes, old-world weapons such as the rapier, and interesting characters of Spanish, English, Mexican, and American origin. It gives you a dramatic, exciting radio program, but is even more suited to a filmed television series. The performers have been selected for their ability and experience, and also for their appearance, so that the television picture will bring you most of the same people you are hearing on this record. Our star for both the radio and television programs probably has talked to more people more often than any man who ever lived. The name of Wendell Niles is familiar to everyone. For 20 years, he has announced and performed several times a week on the highest-rated radio shows. The name is already universally associated with a pleasant, sincere, convincing voice. Through these programs, we now associate that familiar name with a likable, virile, adventurous personality who will quickly spring to life in the hearts of millions of Americans. As you listen to the second act, imagine, if you will, a television screen where you can watch this believable, exciting, romantic man of action, the wearer of the scarlet cloak and rapier, as he rides against the evil to bring hope to the oppressed.
Returning to Monterey after a 20-year absence, Brad Carver has learned that his murdered father was the legendary El Diablo, protector of the weak and helpless. Through his father's old friend and servant, Sancho, he also learns that an attack by night riders is planned against the neighboring hacienda. Donning the scarlet cloak, black sombrero, and rapier that his father wore, Brad and Sancho ride to a hill overlooking the threatened hacienda.
The lamps of the hacienda are out for some time now.
And still no signs of a raid.
They would wait for sleep to come in the house.
I hope you're right.
Oh, Bradito, I bless myself. Here in the moonlight with your father's cloak and sombrero, I feel that once again I ride with El Diablo.
Let's hope the raiders feel the same, Sancho.
There may be many of them.
We'll have help. Come on.
Where do we go?
Down to the corrals to release the livestock.
You have a plan?
Yes. If they expect no resistance, they'll take the easy approach to the hacienda. That means they'll ride in on the road from town and across the bridge that fords the stream down there.
See, that is the way they should come.
Now, we'll herd the oxen and cattle and horses into that blind pass between the hills, just this side of the bridge. When they approach from the other side, I'll charge the bridge. From there on, it's up to you.
Bueno, just tell me what to do.
I want you to stampede the herd behind me. Drive them toward the bridge. In this light, with the sound of the stampede, they won't know what's coming at them. They'll scatter and run.
Here is the main corral.
Move them out as quietly as possible. I'll get the horses from the stables. You drive them into the blind pass, and I'll meet you there.
I hear something, Bradito.
Horsemen, about 10 of them.
Look, coming over the hills. They're carrying torches.
Good. They're on the road to the bridge. Just as they approach the far side, I'll make my ride. Turn the stock toward the bridge and stampede them behind me. Then keep after them and keep them moving.
See, I understand. And lock right with you. El Diablo.
Here they come. When you get across the bridge, cut into the hills. I'll double back and meet you near the old missions.
See, be careful, Bradito.
Now's the time, Sancho. Adios.
Follow El Diablo.
What up there? It is El Diablo. They're outnumbered. It's a trap. It is El Diablo. Come back from the dead. Run, get out of here. Wait. No, wait. It's a trick. It's alone. Come back, you fool. Come back. Come back. Come back.
Oh, boy. Sancho?
Here, Bradito. I am here.
Are you all right?
See, all but my leg. I was caught for a little while in the stampede. It was just squeezed a little, that's all.
I told you to stay behind the herd.
See, I know, but I wanted to be closer to you in case they made a fight. Oh, but you were just like your father, just like him. They were frightened.
I'll help you back to the cave.
No. You must not go there. Tonight you must be in the company of others, so they will not suspect.
But I can't leave you while you're injured.
Bradito, you have taken your father's place. El Diablo returns on the same day a stranger comes to the town. They could make much of this unless you spend the evening with others.
Yes. Senorita Maria, the niece of Don Ramon de la Torres, invited me to call.
Bueno, then you must go there. He is known and respected. It will be perfect. I will take the cloak and sombrero and the rapier. Now you are once again Senor Bradford, a stranger who stops at the inn of San Bonaventure.
My niece plays that music box incessantly, Senor Bradford. I am afraid we are poor competition.
It is so new and exciting, and has come all the way from Paris.
Yes, I know. I've seen them there.
You have been to Paris?
Our Senor Bradford seems to have seen a great deal of the world.
I was in Europe about 2 years ago.
I thought I noted traces of European culture. Do you fence, Senor?
A little. It's part of a gentleman's training.
Excellent. I enjoy the sport. We must try it someday.
It is fortunate for me I have the music box to entertain me.
Oh, forgive me, my dear. I have been monopolizing the conversation. Now I have some work in my study. I will leave you alone. Why don't you show Senor Bradford the gardens?
Perhaps the senor wouldn't care to.
I'd like to see the gardens.
They are very lovely.
Adios, Senor Bradford. You must honor us again.
My pleasure, sir.
You must find Monterey different from your native Boston, senor.
Different in many ways.
Do you plan to stay here for a time?
Do you think I should?
I'm sure my wishes would not influence a man who has seen so much of the world. Will your family join you here?
No, an aunt and uncle in Boston are the only family I have.
Oh, I have not known many Americans. The man I am engaged to marry is an official of the Mexican government. Our families arranged it when we were both children.
Oh, I see. I hope he isn't riding the horse that's headed this way.
No, he's in Mexico. That is probably some friend of my uncle's coming to play chase.
Good. Because I want to stay here a while longer, Maria. I'm very much taken with this garden.
That is nice to know, senor.
Jack, you fool. Why do you come here?
Let me in. I had to see you right away.
Did something go wrong at the Castillo Hacienda?
Did something go wrong? Everything went wrong. We were driven off by El Diablo. He's back.
Dagger. Have you been drinking? El Diablo has been dead for 20 years.
Well, he wasn't dead tonight. I saw him as clearly as I'm seeing you.
You let yourself be frightened by an apparition? I tell you the man is dead. You saw him die.
Yeah? Well, maybe we were wrong. Maybe we killed the wrong man, or maybe somebody's taking his place.
That's impossible.
Is it? How about the fellow who tried to make trouble for us in town today?
Don't be an idiot. His name is Bradford. He comes from Boston, and he is stopping at the inn. Besides, he is here in the garden with my niece at this moment. And he must not find you here when they come in. Now go. I talk to you tomorrow.
I ain't waiting till tomorrow. I'm going to see what I can find out tonight.
Sancho,
Is that you, Bradito? Is something wrong?
were you in town looking for me?
I have been waiting here in the cave.
I left De La Torres and rode to the inn. My room had been searched. A note I'd left for you was missing. A note with money for you to get out of California if I were discovered.
Oh, then somebody knows about you now, Bradito.
Yeah, I'm afraid so, Sancho. Got to do something about that leg of yours.
It will be all right in a few days.
We haven't got a few days. We've got to get you away from here to a safer place.
No. You are the one who must go. Someday when the Americans really come, then the land will be safe and you may return.
Yeah, the Americans are here now, Sancho.
No. I met men returning from town after I left you at the mission. The raising of the flag was a mistake. The command of the ships had a false report of a war. Mexico again controls California. Shh. Quiet, somebody calls.
Quickly, Sancho. Get down behind that trunk.
All right, Bradford, don't move.
Well, this is quite a layout, ain't it? So this was El Diablo's hideout, and you took it over.
How did you find this place?
I had to look through your room at the inn. And I stayed around until you came. I figured you'd run for cover when you found that note was missing, and I was right. So the devil had a son. Might have figured you'd come back, only you're not going to last as long as your father did.
You can drop your gun, Senor Dagger.
All right, Daggett, I'll take that.
Pretty tricky, ain't you? Throwing down on me behind my back. Brave when you got an unarmed man.
Yeah, it didn't bother you when I was unarmed. Take this gun, Sancho. Throw it outside.
What?
And throw your own out, too.
What, Bradito?
Do as I say.
There's still two of you against one, you know.
No, Dagger, just you and me. Sancho won't interfere. Can you use a rapier, Daggett?
Yeah. I can use one.
There's one on the wall behind you, under the devil masks. Take it. You've seen those masks in the past, haven't you, Daggett?
My father's marked for men like you.
Yes, I've seen him. But you'll never put one on me.
Here's the next swordsman.
He's right, El Diablo. This is your last mistake.
You are good, aren't you, Daggett?
Yeah. Next one, you won't be talking. I had the pleasure of killing your father. And this blade will do for you.
I'm glad to know that, Daggett, because that's going to cost you your life. This is your finish.
You know, Bradito.
Yes. There's a chance nobody else has seen it. I want to look at his shoulder. There must be a rapier mark there.
Si, Bradito, si.
No mark, Sancho. Daggett was one of the mob that killed my father, but he wasn't the leader.
And so from now on, you play a game of death in the dark with a man whose face you do not know?
Yes. But at least I know that the man responsible for the death of my family is still alive.
Bradito, Daggett's men will search for him tomorrow. We must bury him.
No, Sancho, he must be found. With a mark of El Diablo, the mask of the devil. I'll put the mask on him and strap his body to his horse and leave him near the town.
They will put a price on your head.
There's already a price on my head, Sancho. The price of a life for a life. Because men like Daggett must die for every innocent and helpless person they kill. If my father could carry that price on his head and pay it, then so can I. As long as there's injustice, as long as the good people of this country are at the mercy of the lawless, they'll have El Diablo to protect them.
You have just heard An Adventure of the Scarlet Cloak, starring Wendell Niles. Music by Lynn Murray, story by Joel Murcott. Produced by Vic Hunter and directed by D. Engelbach.
The American Broadcasting Company presents The Frontier Theater, starring Joel McCrea. Frontier Theater is a new radio series starring Joel McCrea in adaptations of novels by your favorite authors of action stories. Jack London, Mark Twain, Bret Hart, Zane Grey, Rex Beach, and dramatizations of your favorite movie classics. Cimarron, Stagecoach, Union Pacific, and Barbary Coast. The fierce struggle for gold in California and Alaska. The wild scramble for land in Oklahoma and oil in Texas. The thrill and romance of the covered wagon and the Pony Express. And the suspense of the building of the first transcontinental railroad. The American Broadcasting Company presents Frontier Theater.
This is Joel McCrea. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight on Frontier Theater, we bring you Owen Wister's great classic of the American frontier, The Virginian. 4 times The Virginian has appeared before the cameras, and each time with mounting box office success. Perhaps no other story has more effectively exemplified the struggle between good and evil than the conflict between the Virginian and Trampas. I had the privilege of starring in the latest version of The Virginian, and I'm doubly pleased to recreate the title role here on Frontier Theater, with my good friend Edgar Barrier as Trampas and the lovely star of Columbia Pictures, Janet Blair, as Molly. The time, late 19th century. The scene, the plains of Wyoming.
Virginia.
Well, I'll be doggone if it isn't the Maverick, Steve Andrews.
I thought the Virginian must be around.
Ain't no other outfit could ball up for railroad this good.
You haven't changed any either. 3 years, Steve.
Yeah?
What are you doing here? I thought you were working for the Triangle D.
I was. I quit.
Some girl's papa run you out of town?
No girls. That's the trouble.
Well, all I can say is, girls are one kind of trouble that never bothered me. Northern Pacific's getting a little feverish.
Oh, let 'em wait. We got a lot of talking to do.
You in charge around here?
I guess so.
Don't you know the railroad's got the right of way? They didn't build these tracks for cattle.
It's all right, Mr. Engineer. Those cows have never seen a train before. They're just as curious as you are.
Well, they've seen it now, so clear them off. We're doing Medicine Bow.
Yes, sir. I'll speak to him about it, personally. Steve, you want to give me a hand?
Oh, yeah, sure, Virginia. Yeah. I'll be right with you. Later. There's something back there on the train that interests me. So long.
Hey, Steve, you're going the wrong way.
I wouldn't say that. Well, good evening, Mayor.
How do you do?
I hope these steers don't scare you none.
Well, it's all very exciting, but why doesn't somebody do something about it?
Oh, you don't have to worry, ma'am. The Virginian will take care of everything.
That tall man, he's from Virginia?
I'm from Texas myself. I can see that you're from the East.
Yes, Vermont. But how did you know?
Oh, I can always tell. By the way, my name is Steve Andrews.
I'm Molly Wood.
Hey, Steve, you're holding up the train.
Who, me?
Oh, excuse me, ma'am. I'd like to apologize for my steers. They don't mean any harm.
I know, but I'm not very well acquainted with cows.
I'd be happy to introduce you if you're going to make a visit at Medicine Bow.
A visit? I've come to work.
Work? Oh, nobody out here is going to make you do anything mean like that.
I'm the new school teacher at Bear Creek.
You, a teacher?
Yes. Why not?
You look more like you ought to be going to school yourself.
Well, really?
Yeah, Virginia means that for a compliment, man.
It just goes to prove we could all of us use a little bit of educating out here in Wyoming.
Oh, hiya, Trampus.
Hello, Steve. Glad to see you back. Virginia?
Trampus?
Oh, scenery's getting better. It's needed a pretty girl around here. I guess I better introduce myself. My name's Ed Trampus, ma'am.
How do you do? I'm Molly Wood.
She's the new school teacher.
Well, now, this should make life in Medicine Bow much more interesting.
It looks awfully interesting to me already. Are those your cattle, Mr. Trampus?
No. Mighty fine herd, too. Belongs to Judge Henry.
I'm just the foreman, ma'am.
And the Virginian is the best in the West.
Oh, you working for him again, Steve?
I ain't been asked to yet.
Since when did we stand on ceremony, Steve?
You're holding up the train and the school teacher, Virginia. You ought to keep a better watch on your cattle.
Coming from you, Trampus. That's mighty good advice. Oh, ma'am. I'm sorry I made you late. I'd hate to get started off on the wrong foot.
Started off?
Yes, ma'am. This is only the beginning between you and me.
Judge Henry, this is a wonderful party.
Well, Miss Molly, the folks around here are always looking for a good excuse to have a get-together. And we wanted to show you how much we appreciate your coming out west.
Well, you've made me feel right at home.
Well, that was the general idea.
I really don't know how to thank you.
You really shouldn't thank me, Miss Molly. It was the Virginian's idea.
Oh?
It's a funny thing. I've never seen him act this way before. I think he's taken a shine to you, young lady.
What makes you think that?
Howdy, Judge.
Evening, Miss Molly.
Oh, good evening.
Well, now that you're here, Virginia, I don't imagine Miss Molly will miss my company for a few minutes.
Thank you, Judge.
I had a wife around here someplace. Now, where did I leave her?
Well, ma'am?
Yes?
Do you like us?
Oh.
Did I say something wrong?
Oh, no, not wrong. Just different.
From what?
Oh, other people.
What other people?
Just other people.
Oh, you'll get used to us when you've stayed out here long enough. I'll make sure of that.
Oh, you will.
Yes, ma'am. For instance, when I learn you to ride a horse.
Teach me, not learn me.
Huh?
You teach. I learn.
Well, that's what I said.
No, look, I was talking about grammar.
Oh, I was talking about horses.
Teach is a transitive verb, taking an object. Learn is an intransitive verb.
Oh. Well, what does it take?
Oh, nothing at all. Oh, by the way, I haven't seen your friend, Steve Andrews, tonight.
Well, hasn't Steve come in yet?
No. Wasn't he invited?
Sure. But then maybe it's just as well he isn't around. You know, he's a very dangerous character, ma'am.
Mr. Andrews. Dangerous?
And wouldn't you say a ladies' man is kind of dangerous?
Are you?
Me? Oh, you don't mean that, Miss Molly. Why, you said you liked me.
I did.
Yeah. And that's fine for a start, ma'am. Just take your time. You're going to love me before you're through.
Well, you're quite sure of yourself, aren't you? Oh, I'm just as sure of...
Molly, sorry I'm late.
Why, good evening, Mr. Travis.
Hiya, Virginia. Surprised your sidekick Steve isn't here tonight.
How'd you know, Tramper? You keeping track of him?
No, I just happened to see him heading off in the other direction on my way down here. Miss Molly, aren't you dancing?
Why,
that's why I came to this party. You don't suppose I rode all the way out here to see the Virginian?
Thank you, Mr. Travis.
Then may I have the pleasure?
Of course.
Swing to the east and swing to the west and swing that gal if you like it, sis, and swing that corner. Good night, Miss Molly. Good night, Judge. Thanks for inviting me. Oh. Looking for something, Virginia?
Not especially. By the way, Trampus, I passed your herd the other day. You're doing all right. You got so many calves this year, seems like your cows don't have them just one at a time like nature intended. They have them in litters like a sow.
And what would you suggest I do about it?
Maybe you ought to have a little talk with them. Get them back closer to nature.
You're liable to talk yourself into a heap of trouble if you're not careful, my friend.
Since when was I your friend?
Virginia,
Hi, Nebraska. What are you in such a sweat about?
there's been some rustling, boss.
How do you know?
Well, I was coming through Coal Creek, and I heard some calves bawling. By the time I got to where they was, all I could find was the far they'd used for the branding.
Well, what are you staring at me for, Virginia? I was here at the party, wasn't I? Hi, Virginia.
Hi, Steve.
What was that there powwow the judges about?
Little meeting of the ranchers around here. They're sick and tired of having their herds trimmed down by rustlers.
Oh. Is it that bad?
Well, they're talking about sending out posses with ropes on their saddles if it keeps up.
They know who's doing the rustling?
No proof.
Do you know who's doing it?
I have my own ideas, Steve. But I'm not accusing anyone till I'm sure. Oh, I've been meaning to ask you. How come you weren't at the party for the new school teacher?
Thought I'd let you have a clear feel. Seem to be so darn interested.
Never knew you to pass up things like girls and dancing before.
Virginia, what you getting at?
Somebody made a mistake about somebody else's calves last night and took them for their own.
No, say.
Practically everybody, even Trampas, was at the party.
You mean everybody but me? You don't think I'd do a thing like that, Virginia?
You'd be putting me in a pretty tough spot if you did.
No, you take life too serious.
Maybe so. You've been seeing a lot of Trampas, haven't you, Steve?
Too much. That fella can see right through a deck of cards without even touching them.
You losing much?
Oh, now, dadgummit, you ain't gonna lecture me about that.
I guess we'd better turn in. We got a ride herd from tomorrow to Roundup.
All right, boss.
Well, Steve.
Look, if you're worrying about where I was at last night, just forget it.
Sure, Steve.
The Virginian is rounding the south side, Travis. Steve is to the north.
Good, Steve. Now, you would Spanish that fellow to the south side of the herd.
Shorty and me'll pick up Steve at the other end. We'll spread out from there, start things going near Boulder Creek. Understand? Oh, sure, Trumpet, but I'm not too happy. What's the matter? Why, Steve Andrews, you're playing with fire. Well, it's a fire that can't burn us. Steve's in this so deep he can never pull out. He's the best insurance we've got against being picked up. Huh? How you know he won't squeal? Oh, he owes me more than $1,500. Besides that, why should he want to put a noose around his own neck? Well, I guess you know what you are doing. Oh, stop your worrying, Pete. There's only one man we've got to watch out for. The Virginian. And he's not going to do much if his best friend is mixed up in it. Now, come on. Let's go. And quiet. We don't want to stampede him until we're set.
See anything prowling around Nebraska?
No, but that herd's sure restless, ain't it, Virginia?
Yeah. I can't seem to bed him down tonight.
Well, maybe there's a storm coming up.
Maybe.
I haven't seen Steve anywhere.
Well, he's round on the north side near Boulder Creek.
What's that? There's another shot.
Steve's in trouble.
Looks like we're in trouble.
Stampede. Quick, Nebraska! They're heading for Boulder Creek. Come on! Let us up, stand it in. Held in from the right. Held in from the right.
You have just heard the first act of The Virginian, starring Joel McCrea and Janet Blair, with Edgar Barrier. And now we bring you the second act of the Frontier Theater's presentation of The Virginian, starring Joel McCrea.
No wonder the cattle were restless. They've got some kind of extra sense that tells them when trouble's coming. And believe me, a stampede is some trouble. Lucky we came out alive, even if we did miss a couple of hundred steers. And that was no accident. Somebody wanted those cattle, bad. So after we got the herd quieted down, we spread out and started looking for the rustlers. I figured they'd be taking them across the creek where the rocks wouldn't leave any tracks. I was walking kind of quietly when I heard something. Halt there! The next one counts!
Steve. Yeah. You always could shoot, Virginia.
I missed you during the stampede, Steve, but I guess you were kind of busy.
Yeah.
I told you a posse'd be out next time. I was hoping I wouldn't find you here.
Now, don't worry, Virginia. I'll dust on out of this country fast. Leave you in the clear. You're going to let me go, ain't you?
Trampas put you up to this, didn't he, Steve?
Oh, you going to turn me over to the sheriff?
No bargains. You better tell me straight, Steve. The other boys might not understand.
Oh, that's right. You're my friend, Virginia. Well, howdy, boys.
Oh, I wondered where you were.
Yeah, we thought maybe you was lost in the stampede.
Yes. Hey, what's the matter, Virginia?
You tell him, Steve.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Well, then. Steve's been rustling cattle.
Virginia, I didn't... You told him. Steve Andrews? Rustling? Why,
the white-livered skunk.
Hang him up!
Now, wait a minute, boys.
He ain't no different than anybody else.
Yeah, come on.
Lynch him.
Come on, Steve. I'm taking you back to town.
Oh, no, you ain't. You got to catch me first.
Watch out!
Hey, he's got my horse.
That won't hurt him none.
Wait a minute. Listen to me. Bringing him up won't stop anything. This is the way. You hear me? Come back here. Come back here.
Virginia, is it true Steve was hanged? Then it is true.
Oh, Molly, I tried to stop it, so help me, I did.
But it's murder.
The men just saw red. Nothing could have stopped them.
Oh, it's this country, the West. It's tuned to do things the quick way instead of the right way.
Like Trampus.
Trampus?
He's the one. Everybody knows it. Only they've never been able to hang anything on him. Steve's dead. And Trampus is strutting around town like a peacock. Oh, why does Steve have to get mixed up with a man like Trampus?
Maybe Steve was just weak. Evil men get most of their strength from weak men.
Maybe so. But what's going to stop them?
Men like you. Men who want to make the West a decent place to live in. Oh, listen, Virginia. The East was once like the West, too. My family had to build a country there. They had to work and die just as bravely as you Westerners. Some of them settled, and some of them went on. Virginia, you've got to go on.
Go on?
You've got to go on somewhere farther west where you can build a kind of world where men and women can live and work together.
I can't build a world all by myself, Molly.
Who said you were going by yourself?
Well, all I can say, Miss Molly, is that your gain is our loss. And if it weren't you, I'd fight to the last ditch to keep the Virginian right here.
And I'd fight you tooth and nail, Judge Henry, to take him away.
Oh, you two are making me feel awful important.
Well, you only get married once.
And it's a beautiful day for a wedding.
I had it arranged specially. For that and traveling, too.
I still think you're crazy to leave Medicine Bow.
Virginia, there's something oh, excuse me, Miss Molly.
What's the matter?
Well, somebody's here looking for you.
Yes, that's right. I'm looking for him.
Now that you've found me, Trampus, make it quick.
You've been spreading talk around saying your friend Steve didn't count, that I put him up to it, that I'm to blame for the rustling. I'd like to have you tell me that.
Hey, now, look, Trampus, I don't want any fighting around
This
here.
isn't your party, Judge. Virginia, you heard what I said.
Trampus, I'm trying not to have trouble with you just now.
You've been dodging it for a long time, but I'm calling your hand.
All right. What have you got?
I say you're lying in your teeth. I say this country isn't big enough to hold the two of us. And I'll give you until sundown to get out of town.
It's too bad you had to say that, Trampus.
And if you're not out by sundown, I'll shoot you on sight. Now remember, you've got until sundown.
Virginia, we're leaving anyway.
But, ma'am, he can't let Trampus get away with that.
There's been enough killings. Virginia, we are leaving, aren't we?
Yes, Molly. We're leaving.
You're running away?
I made my plans, Nebraska.
But if you leave, Trampus will take over.
I haven't been very good at stopping him so far.
Virginia, there's something I've got to tell you. Something about Steve.
Why didn't you tell me before?
Well, we knew how you felt about him, and we felt pretty bad, losing our heads the way we did. We didn't even want to talk about Steve to you after that.
Well, what about Steve?
Well, you said once you needed proof about Trampus. We've got proof for you, Virginia. Steve gave it to us.
Steve?
He wanted you to know for certain it was Trampus.
Virginia, it's all over and done with.
Molly, you told me what could stop men like Trampus. And now that I know for sure, I haven't any choice.
Judge.
Yes, Molly.
The sun is down.
Get away from that window.
Johnny! Johnny! Coming up the street!
Come on. Virginian.
Ah, don't worry about him. Keep your tricky neck out of the way.
Look. Here he comes now. Out of the hotel.
Right out into the open. And Krampus are waiting for him.
Yeah. Jimmy's walking right into a trap. Krampus will get him for sure.
Gonna take me, Virginia? You're gonna let me go, ain't you?
Men like you. Men who want to make the world a decent place to live in.
I say this country isn't big enough to hold the two of us.
Virginia. Oh, you're safe, darling. It wasn't you.
No, Ma. Molly, you said the West is too new. But there's nothing the matter with that, as long as the wrong people don't take advantage of it. Molly, maybe we've got a chance to make a decent world after all.
You have just heard a radio adaptation of The Virginian, the premiere presentation of Frontier Theater, a new radio series. And now, here is your host and star of Frontier Theater, Joel McCrea.
Thank you, and thanks to our charming heroine, Janet Blair, to her convincing villain, Edgar Barrier, and to my pal Steve, Barton Yarborough. My thanks, too, to the other members of the cast, Earl Ross, Arthur Q. Bryan, Howard McNear, Betty Moran, Dink Trout, and Tony Barrett. And hats off to our director, Charles Vanda, for corralling a fine cast and steering us through our premiere production of Frontier Theater. To our writer, Milton Merlin, for hog-tying a tricky story, and to Basil Adlam, who composed and conducted the original music. Next week, you're in for a lot of excitement and an unforgettable rough and tumble when we bring you that rugged story of the Alaskan frontier, Rex Beach's great yarn, The Spoilers.
That sounds great, Joel. I'll be listening in to the fight, and I do hope you win. But who's going to be the girl?
Well, Janet, I'm happy to say that another grand actress will be on hand, Miss Claire Trevor.
That's wonderful, Joel. Good night.
Good night.
Frontier Theater stars Joel McCrea. In coming weeks, co-starring with Mr. McCrea, you will hear Frances Bee, Ruth Warwick, Barbara Britton, Marguerite Chapman, Constance Moore, Jan Clayton, Jane Wyatt, Miriam Hopkins. And next week, The Spoilers, co-starring Claire Trevor. This is Frank Graham, inviting you to tune in every week at this time for the newest and most exciting adventure show in radio. Joel McCrea can currently be seen in Harry Sherman's production, Ramrod, released through United Artists. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
The American Broadcasting Company invites you to meet Great Caesar's Ghost. Someone once said, every man to his own friends, every man to the company he keeps. Well, this is well and good for most people, but not for Julius Caesar Jones, leading druggist in the little town of Kingston. No, with J.C. Jones, it's different. Because, as we shall soon see, some of the company he keeps is, well, to say the least, unusual. As our scene opens, Julius is in the back room of his drugstore putting up a prescription when the telephone rings.
Jones Drugstore.
Hello, Pop.
Oh, hello, Buster.
you know where Mom is?
Yeah, she's at home, as far as I know, having a tea party.
I called, but nobody answers.
Well, you know your mother's tea party, son. These women are always talking so loud and so fast they'd never hear a dozen telephones.
Gee, I let it ring for about 10 minutes. Well, that's all I wanted to know, Pop.
All right, son. I'll see you later.
Okay, goodbye, Pop.
Goodbye, Buster. And now, let's see. Where was I? Oh, yes. Mrs. Flemington's prescription. Now, let me think. Sulfur. Yes. Ammonia. Mm-hmm. Sodium nitrate. Or did I put sodium nitrate in? Confound it, I can't remember. I'll have to start the whole thing all over again. Great Caesar's ghost.
Greetings, citizen.
What?
Hail and well met.
Who are you? How did you get in here?
All hail the mighty Caesar. Make way, knaves. Bow down. 'Tis great Caesar who approaches.
Caesar? No, look here. What kind of practical joke is this? Who are you, and what are you doing behind the prescription desk in that nightgown?
Nightgown? Forsooth, you make light of my toga. By Marius Jonesy, if you don't wish to discourse with me in a manner befitting my regal personage, and carry on as if you don't believe it is I when I stand before you, why did you call me?
Call you? Well, that's the last thing in the world I'd do.
But you did. Just as I was leaving my palace, I distinctly heard the words.
Words? What words?
I must say that you used them in an uncomplimentary manner. You used them rather as an expletive. Great Caesar's ghost, you said. Now, didn't you?
Well, yes, but...
Those words will always bring me. Whenever I hear them, I must immediately put a halt to whatever I am doing and answer you.
Oh, now, look here. This is ridiculous.
You doubt the great Caesar? Stand back, Jonesy. Watch closely now. I'll disappear. There now, you see. I mean, now you don't see. Say the words, Jonesy.
You mean...
Go on, Jonesy, and put a ring in them. Say them proudly.
Great Caesar's ghost.
And Caesar is here. From the past into the present. From the invisible to... Jones' drugstore.
But I don't understand. No, I can't believe this.
It's very simple, Jonesy. You are a direct descendant of the great Julius Caesar.
I am? But I hardly knew him. I just happen to have his name.
And his royal blood in your veins. You're the first one in over 800 years, Julius Caesar Jones, to have both Caesar's name and Caesar's blood.
And you are Great Caesar?
Egad, sir, I am Great Caesar's ghost. The spirit of the ruler of men.
Be careful, sir. My drugs.
The emperor of the Romans. The leader of thousands.
And don't whirl around like that, Caesar. You'll knock my bottles off the bed.
The figurehead of the great Roman Empire. Yes, and I will do anything you bid me do, Jonesy.
You've done enough. You've ruined Mrs. Flemington's prescription.
Yes, and spotted my toga with some of the most unpleasant of the ingredients. I'll most certainly have to do something about that. Not a very good start, Jonesy, but I repeat that I will do anything you bid.
Anything?
Anything? What do you have in mind?
Well, would you mind helping me mop up this mess on the floor?
A mop? Egad! What a pastime for Gaius Julius Caesar, the ruler of men, the emperor of the Roman
Caesar.
Empire.
There are more bottles in here.
Oh, yes. Carefully. Very well, Jonesy. The great Caesar submits. Lead me to the mop.
Oh, Cassandra, it was a wonderful party. Wonderful.
Oh, do you think everyone had a good time?
Of course they had a good time, Cassandra. Everyone always has a good time in the Joneses' house. Oh, I wish I could say that about the Fisher house.
Now, Effie, we always enjoy coming to your place.
Maggie Kingston, you know that's not true. My husband's the city's only undertaker, and I've resigned myself to it. Why, every time I have the girls over, I know what they're thinking. I see them looking around, under things, like they expect to find I don't know what hidden away somewhere in the corner.
Oh, Effie, nonsense. Now, we're going to have our next meeting of the Ladies' Benefit Club at your place, and no one's going to look anywhere for anything.
Certainly not. Now, Cassandra, I'll help you clean up.
Oh, no, really, don't bother. Oh, Maggie, don't forget to take your luncheon cloths. You were a lifesaver. Imagine having a party and all my cloths at the laundry.
I was glad to bring them, but I wish they had been a little better. That new linen cloth of yours on the dining room table certainly shamed my covers.
Sandra, where did you ever get such a lovely cloth?
Oh, over at Clover City. I've always wanted a white linen with a blue border. The color picks up the blue in the wallpaper.
Oh, it's beautiful. If it turns up missing one of these days, Cassandra, you'll know where to look for it.
My goodness, look how late it's getting. I must hurry.
Well, I'll take you in my car, Effie. Oh, you didn't bring yours, did you?
No, Fred had a funeral. He always takes our car when he has a funeral. You should be glad you're the banker's wife, Maggie. You can have a car of your own.
Fred's not doing so badly. Why don't you make him get you a car?
Oh, well, you know Fred. He's never interested in anything unless it's a matter of life and death, particularly the latter. Well, Cassandra, thank you again.
Oh, I wish you could stay a little longer.
Cassandra, it's been awfully nice. But you just wait until my next party. I got the most wonderful idea while you were passing out the cookies. I wrote it down and put it in my purse. Oh, my purse. I'm walking off without it.
Wasn't that your purse in there on one of the dining room chairs,
Oh,
Maggie?
yes. Now, isn't that just like me? Oh, never mind, Cassandra. I'll go get it. I know exactly where it is.
No wonder Banker Kingston's always saying Maggie's so scatterbrained.
Oh, she's not scatterbrained. She just has a lot on her mind all the time. Did you find it, Maggie?
Oh, yes, right where I left it. Well, Effie, are we ready?
Uh-huh. Well, goodbye, Cassandra.
Bye.
Say hi to Mr. Jones.
Yes, I will. Bye.
Bye.
In a banana. Buster! Buster! Remember what I told you. We have to wax the floors before your father gets home. Oh, they should have been waxed yesterday. But the girls were all so busy admiring my new linen tablecloth. My tablecloth. My tablecloth. It's gone.
Jones Drugstore.
Julius, I have to talk to you.
Yes, dear.
Well, I don't know what to say. I had my white linen tablecloth with a blue border out so the girls all could see it. And now it's gone.
Gone?
Mm-hmm. The last time I saw it, Maggie Kingston and Effie Fisher and I were all admiring it. And then we got to talking about something else, and the girls started to leave. We got as far as the front door, and Maggie suddenly noticed she'd forgotten her purse. Well, she went...
Oh, she wouldn't take your tablecloth, Cassandra.
Well, I don't like to think she would.
Of course she wouldn't. Why, Banker Kingston could buy more tablecloths than I've got pills in my drugstore.
But she did go back after her purse, and she was in the dining room alone. And when I went in there just after she and Effie had gone, the cloth was missing.
Didn't you borrow some cloths from Maggie for your party?
Oh, well, yes.
Well, then she must have accidentally mixed your cloth up with hers.
Oh, dear, I'm sure you're right.
Why don't you call Maggie up and ask her?
Oh, Julius, I don't want her to think I'm accusing her of stealing the cloth. Can't you think of some way to get it back without embarrassing the Kingstons?
Well, I'll try to think of something. What did the cloth look like?
Well, it was white linen with a blue border about 2 inches wide all the way around the edges.
White with a blue border. All right, Cassandra. I'll stop by the Kingstons and see what I can find out.
You going over there?
Yeah, I might as well. I'll be in that neighborhood anyway. I have to deliver a bottle of medicine to old Mrs. Flemington out on the north side of the town.
Well, Julius, nice to have you drop around. Here, have a cigar.
Thanks, Banker Kingston. I didn't know you'd be at home this time of the day.
Yes, indeed. Banker's hours, you know.
I was just passing by. Thought I'd drop in and say hello to you and Maggie.
Well, Maggie isn't here just now. She was over at your place earlier, and then she had to go over to see Mrs. Mitchell about getting a dress fitted or something.
She's been here then? Since she left my place, I mean?
Yes, in and out, so to speak, yes.
I see. You know, Kingston, I've always admired your place. Never have talked to you about it much. Find it pretty convenient, do you?
Convenient? Well, yes, certainly.
Lots of room, plenty of windows, and good light. Nice big hallway out there.
Julius, do you want to take a tour of the house?
I'm sorry. I forgot I was company.
For goodness sake, Julius, you company, why, you're as welcome in this house as Maggie, my own daughter Penelope.
Well, thank you, Kingston. By the way, where is Penny?
Still at school, I imagine.
I suppose she's a big help to Maggie, huh?
Yes, Penelope's a good little helper. Yeah, I suppose so.
Sets the tables, I suppose. Clears it, too, and puts away the luncheon cloths.
Luncheon cloths?
You know, covers for the table. I gather Maggie keeps most of them here in this hallway linen closet.
Well, yes, I suppose so.
By the way... do you have a copy of the last lodge report, Kingston?
Lodge report? Why, yes, I have.
Could I borrow it for tonight? I've mislaid my own someplace.
Why, certainly, Julius. I'll go right up and get it. It's upstairs in my den.
Oh, now, if it's a lot of trouble, don't
No
bother.
trouble. You just wait there. I'll be right back.
All right. Oh, great Jupiter. I feel like a sneak thief. But Cassandra said to find a way not to embarrass the Kingstons. This is where Kingston said Maggie keeps her linens. Let's see now. White tablecloth with blue border. Blue border. Here's one that's blue with a white border. This must be it, all right. Oh, Cassandra was just so excited. She got the colors mixed. Yeah, sure as anything, that's it. Wait a minute. This red check cloth. That's ours, too. I remember Cassandra used it at breakfast just the other morning. Oh, poor Maggie. I wonder if Banker Kingston knows that she's that way about tablecloths.
Albert Kingston, I don't mislay things. I told you that I'd put them here in the downstairs linen closet. And when I went to get the blue one to put on the table for supper tonight, it was gone.
Mother's right, Daddy. She showed me the drawer. Someone had rummaged all through it.
Albert, was anyone in the house while I was at the dressmaking?
No. Well, no one but Julius Jones. He just dropped in to get a copy of the lodge report, and then he just... Say, there was something peculiar at that. Julius Jones. Why, after all these years. Why, that pill roller, a pilferer. Poor Cassandra. I wonder, does she know that Julius is that way about tablecloths?
Well, Cassandra, there they are.
My goodness, Julius, these aren't my tablecloths.
What?
Mine was white with a blue border, not blue with a white border. And whatever made you bring along this red checked one?
You used it just the other morning.
Julius, are you out of your mind? There's never been a red checked tablecloth in this house.
But I thought that...
Ooh, what's this sticky stuff all over them? Smells like medicine.
Oh, it is medicine. Old Mrs. Flemington spilled some of her prescription.
Well, there's only one thing to do. I'm going to wash them out and iron them just as nice as I possibly know how. And then you're going to march right back to the Kingston's place and return them. There now, Julius. Don't they look nice? All washed nice and clean.
Cassandra, I've been thinking about all this, and I don't see how I'm going to get those things back into the Kingstons without them finding out.
Julius, you managed to steal them.
I didn't steal them.
So you can manage to get them back where they belong. Well, thank goodness it's a dark night out. I can hang them on the line and no one will know.
But, Cassandra...
I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, if Kingston ever finds out, he'll skin me alive. He'll make me the laughing stock of the town. And what's more, the lights. Who turned out the lights? Buster? Buster, are you fiddling around with the electric fuses? Buster, turn those lights back on. Great Caesar's ghost.
Egad, Jonesy, what now?
Caesar? That you?
Forsooth, who else? Listen, Jonesy. You'll simply have to do something about that broken cord in the bathroom.
Broken cord? In the bathroom?
By the bones of Brutus, yes. I was trying your electric razor in there a minute ago, and all the lights went out.
Push that doorbell button again, Penny.
Father.
Push it. I'm going to stir Jones out of there if it takes me all night.
All right, Father, but can't you see the Joneses aren't home?
They are home, I tell you.
But look, not a light in the house.
Penelope, I distinctly saw lights in the house as we came around the corner. Penelope, did you push that doorbell button?
Several times, Daddy, but I don't think it rings.
Why, of course it rings. Jones' doorbell always rings. Jones is just hiding, that's all. He's gone underground.
Underground?
Like all criminals do.
Oh, Daddy, don't be so melodramatic.
I'm not being melodramatic. Simply want those tablecloths back. Come on, let's go try the back door.
Maybe if I call for Buster.
Don't you dare. I came over here determined not to raise our voices. There'll be no shouting over this matter.
But, Daddy, I always holler for Buster when I don't see him outside.
Penelope, we will not create a disturbance under any circumstance. Why, you know how these things are in a small town. The minute someone finds out, everyone else in 7 counties will know about it by morning.
Shall I knock on the back door, Daddy?
No, wait a minute. Penelope, do you see what I see?
What's that, Daddy? It's so dark out here.
There on Cassandra's clothesline. Aren't those your mother's tablecloths?
Tablecloths? Why, Daddy, I do believe you're right.
Of course I'm right. They're exactly the ones your mother described as missing.
Daddy, where are you going?
To take those tablecloths off the line. Why, the nerve of Cassandra. She was probably trying to wash out all of Maggie's identification marks.
We'll return to Great Caesar's ghost in just a moment. As we re-enter the troubled life of Julius Caesar Jones, we again find him answering the ring of his drugstore telephone.
Jones Drugstore.
Oh, Julius, thank heavens you're at the store already.
Just opened up, Cassandra.
Julius, they're gone.
Gone? Who's gone?
Maggie's tablecloths. When I went to get them, they weren't on the line.
Well, maybe Buster brought them in.
No, I asked him.
But, dear, who would take tablecloths off our clothesline?
Oh, Julius, this is terrible. If they were our own, I wouldn't mind half as much. Oh.
Now, Cassandra, don't get all excited. It won't help a bit.
But what are we going to do?
Well, there's only one thing to do. Go down to Bircher's department store, Cassandra, and try to replace them. If you can find 2 just like them to give her, she'll never know the difference.
Now, Buster, where are you going?
Over and look at the new marbles Bircher's got in yesterday.
Buster, you are not going to buy any more marbles.
But holy smoke, Mom.
They're all over the house now. You just stay right here with me. I brought you along for a purpose, and I don't intend to have you running all over the store while I'm in here shopping.
But, Mom, they've got some swell new Aggies.
I don't care what they have, son. You can look at them some other time. I want you to stay right here, and if you see Maggie Kingston coming to the store, let me know right away.
Holy smoke, Mom.
Well, good morning, Mrs. Jones. May I help you?
Yes. I'd like to look at some table covers.
Oh, certainly. Do you have anything special in mind?
Well, yes, I do. First of all, a red checked luncheon cloth.
Red checked luncheon cloth. Mm-hmm. Well, yes, I think there's one in this box right here, Mrs. Jones. Well, isn't that fortunate? There's just one left.
That's exactly the one I wanted. How much is it?
That's $5.59, marked down from $7.50.
I'll take it.
All right. Now, was there anything else?
Oh, yes. Something blue and a dinner cloth. A light blue with about a 2-inch white border.
Oh, my. We're terribly short on dinner cloths, especially in blue. I do have one, however, but I don't think you'll like it. It's really a ghastly thing.
Is it blue?
Yes, but not a very pretty blue, Mrs. Jones.
Does it have a white border?
Yes, it has. And it's the full-size dinner cloth. Shall I show it to you?
It's the only blue dinner cloth you have.
The only one in the store.
Oh, well, I might as well look at it.
I'll get it for you right away. Will you excuse me?
Mom, there's Hanky Davis over looking at the marbles. Hi, Hanky.
Buster, hush. My goodness, yelling like that. Where are your manners?
Oh, Hanky doesn't get embarrassed very easy.
Well, perhaps not, but I do. Everyone in the store is looking at us.
Hanky, are you finding any new ones you don't have already?
Buster, stop making faces at that boy.
I'm not making faces. I'm trying to talk to him.
Well, you can see him later. Now behave yourself.
Here we are, Mrs. Jones. But I just know you aren't going to like it.
Like it? My goodness, that's just like the one Julius took from Maggie. Well, that's exactly what I want.
You do?
My goodness, yes, and you just about didn't show it to me.
No, that is, I just about didn't, did I? Oh, but it is a lovely cloth. Don't you think so?
I certainly do not. I agree with you. It's ghastly.
My goodness, Mrs. Jones.
How much is it?
It's very reasonable. Just $18.
Never thought I'd pay $18 for a pen wiper like that.
But you are going to take it? Both of them, I mean, the red check, too?
Oh, yes, I'll take them. How much is it altogether?
$23.59, Mrs. Jones. But if you'd like to wait until our next shipment of blue covers comes in...
Oh, no. You don't understand. I'll take both claws. Will you wrap them, please?
Oh, certainly, Mrs. Jones. They'll be ready in just a minute.
Can I go now, Mom?
No, Buster, you cannot. I want you to help me when we get home.
Holy smoke, Mom. Help you?
Yes, dear. I can't give those table covers to Maggie looking like they do.
Looking like they do?
Oh, they're too new looking. I'll have to wash them out so Maggie won't know they haven't ever been used.
Well, Penelope, I guess I'm not getting so old at that.
Old, Daddy?
No, not when my very beautiful young daughter chooses to wait an entire half hour at the bank to walk home with me. Oh, here, Penny, we go this way.
Across Burns' vacant lot?
Yes, saves a minute and a half.
Do you always come this way when you walk home?
Sure, takes me right by Schaefer's backyard and
the Joneses?
Well, I sometimes stop a minute and say a few words to old F. Schaefer. I don't see him out today.
There's Buster going in his house. Hey, Buster! Oh, I guess he didn't hear me.
Yeah, he probably doesn't want to hear you. He's more than likely ashamed.
Ashamed?
Yes, of Julius, his father.
Daddy, I still don't think there's... I still think there's some mistake. Why, for heaven's
Hold on
sake...
a minute, Penny.
What?
Look. There on Cassandra's clothesline.
My heavens, Daddy. Mother's red check tablecloth.
And the blue one with a white border.
The Joneses got them back again. Well, did you
Penny,
ever?
you wait here.
Daddy, where are you going?
Where do you think I'm going? I'm going to get those tablecloths and take them home to Maggie again.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, hello. Oh, yes, it's Cassandra.
My heavens, Julius, I've been trying to get you for 20 minutes. Julius, you won't believe it, but I saw it happen with my very own eyes.
Believe it? You saw what happen?
Banker Kingston. I was in the kitchen, and when I looked out of the window for Buster, I saw him going through the back gate.
Buster?
No, Julius, Banker Kingston. And he was carrying off those 2 brand new tablecloths I brought this morning for Maggie.
Great Jupiter.
Julius, what are we going to do about it?
Well, it's time to close up the store. I'll come right home, and we'll both go over to Kingston's and have a talk with them.
Will you hurry, Julius?
Sure. I'll get there as fast as I can.
All right, dear. Goodbye. Oh, dear. Now, who could that be? Oh. Maggie Kingston and Banker Kingston.
Cassandra, we want to talk to you.
Yes, and I want to talk to you, Maggie.
Maggie, my dear, will you take the package now?
Just hold it a while longer, Albert. Well, shall we invite ourselves then, Cassandra?
Oh, yes. Do come in.
Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you very much.
Now, let's not get excited about this. I'm sure there's been a misunderstanding all the way around. So Albert and I thought that we should come right over.
Well, Julius made a terrible mistake in taking those tablecloths. He thought he was doing right, but, well, we all make mistakes.
What do you mean that Julius thought that he was doing right when he stole my tablecloths?
Julius did not steal them, Maggie. He only thought he was taking what belonged to us.
But how on earth could he have thought that?
Well, Maggie, after all, you took my brand new white linen tablecloth to begin with.
I took your white linen? Why, Cassandra
Oh,
Jones.
see here, Cassandra.
Cassandra, do you deny that my husband found 2 of my tablecloths on your clothesline?
2 of your tablecloths? Huh, 2 of mine, you mean? Why, I saw him take them off my line with my own eyes not more than 30 minutes ago.
I don't mean those 2. I brought them back to you. Albert made a mistake when he took them.
Well, then you admit he took them.
Yes, I took them, and I took 2 others last night.
Last night? You took the ones last night, too?
Why, of course I did. They were Maggie's. They had our laundry mark on them. Or do you deny they were our cloths?
No, I don't deny it. Julius took them when he went over to talk to you about the new white linen you took from me.
Cassandra Jones, I have never taken a single thing from you in my life.
Then perhaps you can explain how my new cloth disappeared.
Disappeared?
Between the time you and I and Effie Fisher left the dining room and the time you went back after your purse.
Look here, Cassandra. Are you insinuating?
I'm not insinuating anything. I'm simply
you are
saying.
True. You're calling me a thief, and I'm not going to stand for it. While
No, this whole thing has me so upset, Oh, dear, I've even forgotten to take off my apothecary jacket. I must be losing my mind. Great Caesar's ghost.
Egad, Jonesy, not again.
Oh, I keep forgetting. That great Caesar...
Oh, caution, Jonesy. Don't say it, or I shall disappear before we've had our little chat.
Oh, yes, chat.
Yes.
Listen, you promised to help me, didn't you?
Anything your little heart desires, Jonesy.
Well, then, find out who took my wife's tablecloth.
Well, as you moderns say, this is a tough pecan to crack.
You mean nut?
Who is?
Oh, never mind. Just, please, find Cassandra's tablecloth.
Time, Jonesy. Patience, boy. As you can see, I don't have it on me. I'm not concealing it. I have on but my toga, a white bit of cloth trimmed...
In blue. That's it. The tablecloth.
This? Don't be insane, Jonesy. I found this toga lying on a table with a bowl of fruit in the center.
No.
Precisely. What a queer place for a bowl of fruit, don't you think,
look.
Jonesy?
That's my wife's tablecloth. It's been causing an awful lot of trouble, and I have to get it back.
You want my toga? But, Jonesy, what will I wear? Besides, it wouldn't look well on you. You're too short.
Now, see here. I don't want to wear it. I want my wife's tablecloth, and I want it right now. You can have my work jacket. Come on, slip it off. You said you'd do anything.
Well, very well, Jonesy, as you wish. Now I'm to wear that drugstore jacket. A little while ago it was mops, tablecloths, drugstore jackets. I think I shall go back to Rome tonight and rest. Now we'll get back to the conclusion of Great Caesar's ghost.
Oh, Julius, I still don't get it. Where on earth did you find it?
Well, dear, I didn't exactly find it on Earth. That is, I just found it, dear.
Well, I'm just tickled to death that it's all settled. Where'd you find it?
Now, Cassandra, honey, the important thing is that we have the tablecloth back.
Well, yes, I suppose that's right. And it's settled with the Kingstons, and everybody's happy again.
That's right, sweetheart. Doesn't it look nice on the table where it belongs?
Oh, yes, I'm so proud of it. Well, I'll go get dinner, dear.
Remarkable. I should thank him. He really didn't know. I wonder. Yes, I think I will. Great Caesar's ghost.
Egad, Jonesy, I'm certainly glad you called.
Yes, I just wanted to thank...
Do you realize what's happened?
Well, no.
Well, I'll tell you what's happened. I have just returned from Rome, where I was laughed and booed off the Appian Way.
But why?
Why? Great Julius Caesar, the leader of men, the ruler of the entire Roman Empire. Caesar, the all-powerful, labeled Jones Drugstore. Great Caesar's Ghost was produced in our San Francisco studios. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
I am Judge A.J. Adams. For almost 40 years, I presided over one of the highest criminal courts in the land, and I have learned, above all, that no crime is perfect.
The Judge. Each week at this time, Judge A.J. Adams solves another nearly perfect crime. Relying on the fact that mistakes are repeated, that criminal motives do not vary, the Judge, now retired, draws upon his vast courtroom experience to fight another battle for justice. It is evening just outside the palatial home of Mrs. Agatha Winters, one of the town's wealthiest widows. Mrs. Winters lives with her stepson Ronald and her secretary Catherine Shaw. A high, solid brick wall surrounds the Winters estate, cutting it off from the rest of the neighborhood. It's 9:30 when a long, sleek convertible pulls up the driveway in front of the mansion and stops. The car door opens. A young man steps out. He starts up the stairs toward the house as a voice from out of the shadows says,
Ronnie!
What?
Ronnie, wait.
Julie, what are you doing here?
I had to talk to you. Ronnie, why haven't you been to the nightclub to see me? It's been almost a week.
I've told you, Julie, it's no use.
Ronnie, have you forgotten? We were going to be married.
Now, you're only making this more difficult. I'm sorry if I sound brutal, but there's no other way.
But, Ronnie, you can't end this.
Good night,
We've just...
Julie. Or perhaps I should say goodbye.
Ronnie. Ronnie.
Ronnie?
Oh, hello, Catherine. Is my stepmother still up?
No, she's retired for the evening.
Oh. Well, I have some news for her. She won't have to worry about Julie Young anymore.
I know she'll be pleased to hear that. Your stepmother did worry, so.
Yes, I'm sure she did. Good night, Catherine.
Good night, Ronnie.
It's good to be home. It's stuffy in this room. I'll just open the window. It's a beautiful night. Hello. Looks as though there's someone down in the garden. Who's there? Who's... Oh, it's you. Hey, wait. Put down that... Oh!
It is 30 minutes later. Not many miles away, sitting in his study, is Judge A.J. Adams. Once one of the nation's most fearless fighters against crime, Judge Adams is now retired. However, from time to time, the good judge is pleased to lend his brilliant judicial mind to the cause of justice when called upon by the police. Now the telephone just outside Judge Adams' study rings suddenly. A short, plump woman of about 50 wipes her hands on her apron and walks towards the phone. She is Mrs. Maloney, Judge Adams' faithful housekeeper. She lifts the receiver.
Judge Adams' residence?
Mrs. Maloney, this is Lieutenant Tommy Ross of the police department.
Oh.
I wonder if I could disturb the judge for a moment.
Well, he's resting in his study, Lieutenant. Can it not wait till the morning?
I'm afraid it can't, Mrs. Maloney. This time it's really important. Would you call him to the phone?
Well, seeing as how you're an old friend, Lieutenant, but next time...
Mrs. Maloney.
I'll get him right away. It's them police again, Judge, bothering you at all hours.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Maloney. I'll take it on this extension. Judge Adams speaking.
Hello, Judge. This is Tommy Ross.
Well, hello, Tommy. What can I do for you?
Judge, does the name Agatha Winters register with you?
Oh, indeed it does. Mrs. Winters represents one of our very prominent families. In fact, she is the leader of the reform movement in the coming city elections.
Exactly, Judge. Mrs. Agatha Winters is chairman of the Citizens Committee Against Crime.
Yes.
Right now, she's a murder suspect.
She what?
If this thing breaks in the newspapers, it'll blow the lid off City Hall.
Now, Tommy, suppose you try being a little more explicit.
Judge, I called to ask if you'd mind coming over to the Winters home right away. I could use your help. You see, Mrs. Agatha Winters' stepson, Ronnie, has just been murdered. Oh, here you are, Judge Adams.
Well, I'm sorry I took so long, Tommy. The old car doesn't start as easily as it used to.
Judge, perhaps we could talk in the library.
You're the policeman, Lieutenant.
Now, about 45 minutes ago, Ronnie Winters was shot through the heart. As best we can tell, he was standing at the window of his bedroom upstairs when it happened. There were no powder burns on the body, and from the angle of the wound, it's our opinion young Winters was shot from the garden below.
He was at home alone?
Oh, no. There were two other people in the house. His stepmother, Mrs. Winters, and her secretary, Catherine Shaw. Now, Mrs. Winters claims she was in bed asleep at the time. And Catherine Shaw tells me she was in the kitchen making some coffee.
Well, then neither can alibi for the other.
Right, Judge.
Tommy, what about the murder weapon?
I was afraid you were going to ask me that.
Oh?
It can't be found. I've got 10 men on this case, Judge. They've searched every inch of the grounds in the house. The gun that killed Ronnie Winters has disappeared.
I see. Tell me, Tommy, who telephoned the police?
Mrs. Winters. She says she was awakened by the shots and called us immediately.
Yeah.
And luckily, there was a squad car patrolling only 2 blocks away. They arrived here within minutes after the shooting.
Then there is an excellent chance that the murderer at this moment is on the Winters estate.
All right, Judge. Neither Mrs. Winters nor Miss Shaw heard a car leave after the shooting, and the grounds around this mansion cover almost 5 acres. Also, I've got 4 squad cars patrolling the area bordering the Winters home. No one has been seen leaving the estate.
Well, Lieutenant Ross, I must say you are doing a thorough job.
Coming from you, Judge Adams, that means something. Now, there's just one more thing.
Yes, Tommy?
If the newspapers get wind of this murder, they're going to spread the Winters family all over the front page, Judge. You know what that'll do to this town's reform movement.
Well, with Mrs. Winters a murder suspect, I should imagine it would be a severe blow.
Well, that's why I called you, Judge. We're working against time.
Tommy, this matter affects our entire community. They'll come along now. I think we better have another chat with Miss Shaw and Mrs. Winters.
There's Catherine Shaw coming out of Mrs. Winters' room now, Judge.
Good. Perhaps Miss Shaw can talk to us.
Yeah. Oh, Miss Shaw.
Yes, Lieutenant Ross.
I would like you to meet Judge A.J. Adams.
Oh, I'm deeply honored, Judge Adams.
How do you do, Miss Shaw?
I've read a great deal about your work with the police.
Thank you, Miss Shaw. Well, I see right now you are reading Emile Zola's fascinating book, The Human Beast.
I think it's one of Zola's best works, Judge Adams.
You sure? I wonder if I might speak with you for a few moments.
Why, of course.
Did you discover the body of Ronald Winters?
Yes, sir. I was in the kitchen when I heard the shots. I ran upstairs immediately and found Ronnie lying there beneath the windowsill.
And Mrs. Winters, when did she arrive?
Just a few moments later. She was awakened out of a sound sleep.
Miss Shaw, I'm going to ask you a very important question, and I must have a completely frank answer.
I'll be glad to answer, Judge Adams.
Thank you. Did Mrs. Winters and her stepson get along well?
Most of the time, yes, sir.
But some of the time they did not.
Well, there was one minor matter.
Well, please, continue.
Ronnie was going with a nightclub singer, Julie Young. Mrs. Winters didn't approve. She asked Ronnie to stop seeing the girl.
And did he?
Well, there was a scene. At first, Ronnie refused. Then when Mrs. Winters said she wouldn't let Ronnie disgrace the family name, she said...
Go on.
She'd rather see him dead.
Miss Shaw, why haven't you revealed this information to the police?
Lieutenant, Mrs. Winters is not only my employer. She's my close personal friend. I'd hate to see her involved.
Miss Shaw, that's for the police to decide.
Lieutenant Ross is quite correct, but I understand your loyalty. Now, Miss Shaw, tell me, did you know Julie Young?
Well, I've never met her. However, tonight when Ronnie came in, he told me he'd broken off with the girl.
I checked on this Julie Young, Judge. She works at the Bluebird Cafe. That's a night spot on the other side of town.
Miss Shaw, do either you or Mrs. Winters own a gun?
Oh, no, Judge. We've never had one in the house.
How long have you lived in this house with Mrs. Winters?
Almost 4 years. Since Mrs. Winters' husband died.
Thank you, Miss Shaw. You've been most cooperative.
Anything I can do to help, Judge Adams. Anything at all.
I shall be happy to call on you.
Keeps going in circles, Judge. And still no sign of the murder weapon.
Tommy, regarding this Miss Julie Young...
Yes, sir?
I think you'd better send for her right away. Meanwhile, I'm going to have a talk with Mrs. Agatha Winters.
And he was there, beneath the windowsill, Ronnie, dead.
No, there, Mrs. Winters. Please, try to calm yourself.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Judge Adams. I know you'll help us.
Oh, I shall try my best. Mrs. Winters, exactly what were the terms of your late husband's will?
I'm afraid I can't recall the terms of his will.
To whom did the bulk of the estate go?
To Ronnie. Oh, poor Ronnie.
And he received his inheritance 4 years ago?
No, it was held in trust until his 25th birthday. I was named executor of the estate until then.
And when would Ronald have become 25?
On Thursday. Just 3 days from now.
And if he died before his birthday, you retain control of the estate, hmm?
Well, yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Winters. I hope it won't be necessary to trouble you again.
Oh, please, Judge Adams, please help the police to find the person who killed my son.
Your stepson, Mrs. Winters.
Yes, my Judge, you don't think that I...
Mrs. Winters, I shall do everything in my power to see that the murderer of Ronald Winters is apprehended.
Oh, Judge, I have to talk to you.
Yes, Tommy.
I sent a squad car down to the Bluebird nightclub to pick up Julie Young.
And?
The men just got back. The manager of the Bluebird told him Julie Young disappeared at 9 o'clock. She hasn't been seen since.
How about her residence?
We checked there. They said she left sometime this afternoon, hasn't been back. Besides that, she was due at the Bluebird for the 9:30 show.
9:30? Yes. Approximately the time of the murder of Ronald Winters. Tommy, why don't you and I take a stroll outside? I'd like to look over the grounds.
Right, Judge. I've doubled the men searching out there. Somewhere in these 5 acres, we're going to find that gun. And when we do, it's my guess we'll find the murderer still holding it.
Well, Lieutenant Ross, it appears you have half the city's police force searching for one gun.
Oh, I'd have more if they weren't needed elsewhere. Yes. Judge, this case has got to be cracked, and soon. We can't hold the reporters off much longer.
Yes, I know.
Every racketeer in this town would like nothing better than a scandal involving Mrs. Winters, the reform leader.
Hold it. Tommy, I believe one of your men has discovered something.
All right. Come out of those bushes with your hands up.
Judge, someone hiding in the shrubs. You better get back in the house. They could be shooting.
If there is, you'll need every man of us.
I'm going to count 3. If you aren't out of there with your hands up, we open fire. 1, 2.
No.
Judge, it's a girl. She's coming this way, Tommy.
Don't shoot, please. Don't shoot, Judge.
Now, well, young lady.
Hold your fire, man. Judge, are you okay? She ran right into you.
Luckily, I'm in better shape than most men my age.
All right, now, miss, suppose you tell us your name.
Now, she's frightened, Tommy. Here, let me try it. Come here. Miss?
Yes?
Who are you?
My name is Julie Young.
Julie Young, the nightclub singer.
Please, couldn't we go inside?
We'll do better than that, Miss Young. I'm arresting you for the murder of Ronnie Winters.
We will return to the judge in just a moment. But first, March 15th can be just like any other day in the year if you send your income tax returns in early. Don't be harassed, worried, and nervous as that date draws near. Remember, you receive refunds sooner if you file early. It's worth it. Get your returns filed right now. And now the second act of The Judge. And today's story, The Death of the Playboy. Playboy Ronald Winters, stepson of the wealthy Mrs. Agatha Winters, has been found murdered. Because Mrs. Winters is leader of the city's reform movement, Police Lieutenant Tommy Ross has called upon Judge A.J. Adams to assist him in solving the case. Both the police and the judge realize that should the newspapers play up the role of Mrs. Winters in this case, the city's much-needed reform movement would collapse. Thus, the judge and Tommy Ross continue their investigation at the Winters home, even though the hour is very late. Lieutenant Ross is now questioning singer Julie Young, who is in love with the murdered Playboy.
All right, Miss Young. If you're as innocent as you say you are, why were you discovered just a few minutes ago hiding on the Winters estate?
I was afraid.
Afraid of what?
After I left Ronnie earlier tonight, I heard shots. I ran down the driveway, and then suddenly there were headlights coming toward me, and I hid in the shrubs. When the car passed, I saw it was the police. I was too frightened to move.
Miss Young.
Yes, Judge.
Would you please describe the scene that took place between you and Ronald Winters earlier this evening?
I came to the house to see Ronnie. It was about 9:30, I guess. Just as I arrived, he drove up in his car. I asked him why he hadn't come to the club to see me. And he said it was all over between us. He left me standing there, and he went in the house.
And you're asking us to believe that after being jilted by Ronnie Winters, you turned meekly and walked away?
It's true, Lieutenant. I swear it. I wouldn't have killed Ronnie no matter what he did. I loved him.
Okay.
I loved him.
Sanders, take her in the other room.
Come along, Reese. Come along.
Well, Judge, I'm licked. None of these people killed Ronnie Winters, but he's dead.
You know, Tommy, it's entirely possible Julie Young is telling the truth.
Well, Judge, she's sincere, she's innocent-looking, but she had the perfect motive. And furthermore, she was found hiding on the ground.
If Julie Young murdered young Winters, wouldn't the gun have been found either on her person or somewhere on the grounds?
Well, now, Judge, do you realize I've got more than 20 policemen on this case now? And every single one of them are looking for a small hunk of metal, a gun. The gun that killed Ronnie Winters.
Oh, easy, Tommy, my boy. I realize this is an extremely unusual case, but I assure you there is some logical explanation.
Oh, yeah? But where do we find it?
I recall a case of some years back during which the solution hinged upon the finding of the murder weapon. I believe I have the history of that case at home in my study.
Now, what has a case years ago got to do with the murder of Ronnie Winters tonight?
Tommy, it is my opinion that there is very little new under the sun, and that includes murder. For each criminal investigation, there is one in the record books that has many similar factors. You might even say that it is upon this premise that our system of law is based. That is why lawyers and judges alike so often refer to older cases during a trial.
Okay, Judge, okay. So somebody else once had trouble finding a gun. Now, where does that leave us?
With your permission, Lieutenant, I would like to return to my home and study my law books. I believe something vital will come of it.
I'll do better than that, Judge Adams. I'll give you a squad car and 2 men to help you. But let me warn you in advance, Judge. I've got my murderer, and her name is Julie Young.
Finally came home, Judge Adams.
Why, Mrs. Maloney, perhaps I might ask what my housekeeper is doing up at this hour of the night?
Keeping track of you, that's what. And where is your hat?
I beg your pardon?
Judge, I said, where is your hat? Do you want to catch your death on such a cold night?
Mrs. Maloney, if you'll excuse me, I have an urgent matter.
Urgent enough. 'Tis about time you got some sense in your head. staying up to all hours and going bareheaded in this weather. See here, Judge Adams. You may be very intelligent, like them policemen and newspapers is always saying, but to me, you're just a man who needs taken care of. No hat, indeed.
Good night, Mrs. Maloney. In the future, I shall check with you regarding my haberdashery. Now. Let me see. Where is that book? Yes, here's the volume I need. I see. Case of... Yes, that's just the case I had in mind. The state of Illinois versus Cartwright. Page. Why, yes. Of course. It's a very important point. What now, Mrs. Maloney?
It's a telephone for you, Judge. Lieutenant Ross. And he says it's very urgent.
All right, Mrs. Maloney, thank you. Yes?
Judge, Tommy Ross.
Yes?
You better come back to the Winters home right away.
Is something wrong, Tommy?
It's that Julie Young dame. She was a bundle of nerves, Judge, so I let her lie down in a spare bedroom.
Go on.
Well, I used my sympathy instead of my head. Julie Young has escaped.
Gee, what? I'll be right there.
The soup. The reporters are outside screaming for blood, and my number one suspect just flew the coop.
Easy, Tommy. She couldn't have gotten very far.
Oh, I suppose you're right, Judge. I've got every man searching the grounds for her. But so far as I'm concerned, this proves it. Just as soon as Julie Young is recaptured, she's getting a nice, cozy cell.
Tommy, I wonder if I could ask one more favor of you.
Oh, Judge, it's getting late. Oh, well, for you, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tommy. Could you have your men bring Mrs. Winters and Miss Shaw into the library now? I'm sure you will find it highly informative. I'm
going to have to ask you, Mrs. Winters and Miss Shaw, to give Judge Adams your complete cooperation. All right, Judge, the floor is yours.
Thank you. From the very beginning of this case, certain factors seemed familiar to me. Primarily the matter of the missing weapon. Thanks to the kindness of Lieutenant Ross, I was able to return to my study and engage in some research. That research has borne fruit.
Judge. Oh, Judge, please, have you discovered who killed my stepson?
In a moment, Mrs. Winters. The basic problem in a murder case is generally the motive. But in this case, there were many motives available. Mrs. Winters.
Yes, Judge Adams.
By your own admission, your husband's vast estate would have been turned over to your stepson in but 3 days, had he lived.
That's true, Judge, but you certainly don't think that
please. In addition, there is the known fact that you informed your stepson, Ronald, that you would prefer to see him dead rather than disgrace the family name. Is that not correct?
Well, yes.
Motive and circumstantial evidence. Now, Miss Shaw.
Yes, sir.
I believe you stated you had been in Mrs. Winters' employ for 4 years.
That's true, Judge.
And during that time, you have served her faithfully, in fact, have become more her companion than secretary?
Well, yes, I suppose so.
Thank you. With Ronald Winters now dead, a new will is in effect. Yours, Mrs. Winters. With no children of your own, could you please tell me how you have planned to distribute your estate?
Well, a great part of it is to go to charity.
And the remainder?
To Catherine Shaw.
Did Miss Shaw know that?
Well, yes, Judge. I told Catherine I'd take care of her for the rest of her life.
In other words, a strong motive for Miss Shaw. If you, Mrs. Winters, were convicted of the murder of your stepson, Catherine Shaw would inherit the entire fortune.
Judge Adams, I didn't kill Ronnie.
Yes?
Lieutenant Ross, I've got Julie Young.
Julie Young? Bring her in, Sanders. Well, Miss Young, I imagine you're ready to sign a statement now?
I had to run. You made everything point to me, but I didn't kill Ronnie.
Judge Adams, okay if we bust up this little gathering now? We've got the guilty party.
I'm afraid I can't agree with you, Tommy.
What?
If you'll give me another minute, I'm sure you will understand why.
Okay. Okay, Judge, another minute.
Now we have the motives established for 3 people. Miss Young here, the scorned lover. Mrs. Winters, facing what she felt to be family disgrace and loss of control of the family money. And Miss Shaw, also a matter of large inheritance. But what of the murder weapon? 20 policemen have covered this entire estate, have searched this home from attic to cellar. The gun is still missing.
It's no use, Judge. We've covered every inch of the grounds.
Yeah, and very efficiently, too, Tommy. That is why I wanted to check my law books. It was while studying the case of the state of Illinois versus Cartwright that I found my answer.
Answer, Judge?
Exactly. In the Cartwright case, as in this one, during the entire investigation, the murderer concealed the weapon on his person.
Oh, but, Judge, all these people were searched.
I'm sure they were, Tommy. Nonetheless, in this room, right now, we have a murderer carrying the gun that killed Ronald Winters. Miss Shaw.
Yes, Judge Adams.
Do you enjoy reading Emile Zola's novel, The Human Beast?
Why, of course.
You do?
You asked me that once before.
Well, would you tell me about the book, please?
Well, it's about a Frenchman who was a human beast.
Very interesting, Miss Shaw. You've enjoyed reading the book so much that you do not know the human beast described by Zola is actually a locomotive and not a man at all.
Locomotive?
You have enjoyed the book so much you have carried it in your right hand since the moment Ronald Winters was murdered.
All right, Judge. You're right. I've got the gun. Here.
The gun that killed Ronnie. The gun was inside your book.
By carefully cutting out the pages of this large novel, Miss Catherine Shaw has been able to conceal the gun with which she killed Ronald Winters. That book and the murder weapon never left her person.
And I still have it in my right hand, ladies and gentlemen. Only I won't need this book anymore. All right, Lieutenant Ross. Call off your men. I'm leaving this house and no one dare stop me.
You see, Tommy, a book may conceal a dangerous weapon, just as darkness conceals an attack.
Right, Judge?
Don't move or I'll shoot!
And since this light switch is near my hand...
Turn on those lights!
Quick, Tommy!
Right, Judge. I'll grab her. Stop that now.
I'll get the lights.
Oh, let go!
I've got a Judge.
Good work, Tommy. Well, Miss Shaw, yours was a diabolical plot. You killed Ronald Winters and hoped Mrs. Winters would be executed for the crime so that you would inherit a large portion of the estate. Take her away.
Yes, Sanders. Take her out of here.
Come along, you. Come along.
Oh, Judge Adams, I don't know how to thank you.
Well, Judge, as usual, I owe you more than I can tell.
Oh, nonsense, Tommy. We merely used a stuffy old law book to help us solve a difficult riddle.
No, not we, Judge Adams, you. I'm sure Mrs. Winters and all the others in the reform movement won't forget your brilliant work in solving this crime.
Tommy, Chief Justice Holmes of the Supreme Court once taught me that every criminal makes the initial mistake of believing he has discovered a new way to beat the law. Yet, like Catherine Shaw, they too must learn any way to crime will end in prison.
The Judge, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars John Daner and is written by Richard Petticini and William Frug. Featured in today's cast were Georgia Ellis, June Whitley, and Sarah Selby, with Byron Kane and Vivi Janis. Lieutenant Ross is played by Larry Dobkin. Editorial supervision is by John Meston. And the special music is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. The meanest man in the world is one who steals your radio just before it's time for the Jack Benny Show. America's favorite miser, a man with more flaws in his character than Swiss cheese has holes, Jack Benny is yours for delight every Sunday on CBS Radio. Tonight again, be sure to be listening and laughing at Jack Benny Time. Be sure to join us again next week when Judge A.J. Adams uses his vast knowledge and experience to solve one of the most unusual crimes on record, the cat's paw. Your announcer, Clarence Cassell. This is the CBS Radio Network. Log entry, the schooner Black Parrot. Matthew Kincaid, master. 6 May, 1950. Position, 17 degrees 5 minutes south, 147 degrees west. Course, 43 degrees. Fresh breeze, sky overcast. Barometer, 310 and falling. Passengers, 2. 1 restricted to quarters. Cargo, explosives in number 2 hold. Number 1, trade goods, tractor parts.
The Log of the Black Parrot, with Elliot Lewis starred as Captain Matthew Kincaid and written by the masters of the sea story, Gil Dowd and Anthony Ellis. The passage of a black schooner, sailing the southern oceans, sailing into adventure with the strange and restless man who is her master, has set down in The Log of the Black Parrot.
Number 1's batting, skipper, and this is the last for number 2. I'll be glad to see the cargo aboard.
Right. It's coming over dirty, Red, but at this rate we'll beat the wind.
Well, that's all right with me. I don't want to run into anything with that stuff aboard. What's a doctor doing with explosives anyway?
He wants to get rid of a reef. Hey, Red.
Yeah?
Do you have any trouble ashore?
Trouble? Me? Who's the skipper?
Take a look. Gendarmes.
Oh, they're coming aboard. I'll be checking the dunnage in number 1.
Captain Kincaid?
What's the trouble?
Will you come ashore, please?
Why?
Commandant requests your presence.
Why?
I cannot say. I only have my orders.
I got mine from the harbor master. There's weather moving in. I got to clear Papiti in an hour.
I'm sorry, monsieur. You have the papers?
Crowder, tell Mr. Gallagher I've gone ashore. Come on, you. We walked away from the waterfront through the warm, dull rain, back into Papiti. And I knew I'd been in the place too long. The feeling of being held, of being watched was there again. And now the police, always the curious police, who ask too many questions.
Captain Kincaid. Attendez dehors. Oui, monsieur le commandant.
What's the matter with you?
Captain Kincaid, I'm so sorry to inconvenience you. Please sit down.
No, thanks.
A cigar?
Look, I'm in a hurry. What do you want?
You are sailing for Ivaoa.
Yeah.
Then I have a favor to ask, unofficially.
You make out forms in triplicate for a favor?
I'm sorry, monsieur. It is most important. I know you are anxious to
Come on.
sail,
I want to get out of here before the wind hits.
I wish you to carry a passenger to the Marquesas. We will pay the passage.
I guess I can take another 2,000 francs.
It is a girl.
Forget it. Not on my ship.
I will pay you 3,000 francs. She is a daughter of a very good friend of mine in Hivaoa. He sent her here to school when she was 15, 3 years ago. Now she must leave.
I can't take an 18-year-old girl on my ship.
She's in a great deal of trouble. And she'll have to go to prison if she stays here.
Why?
She learned too much. But I think not in school. Men. Among others, a sailor. She shot him.
Huh?
She's half-caste. Her mother was Marquesan.
That happens. Is the sailor dead?
No. He will recover, and he will prosecute.
You want her to be away before then?
Yes.
What happens if I get caught?
You will not be caught. I shall see to that.
All right, have the girl and her gear aboard in 45 minutes.
1, 2, 3. 3,000, monsieur le capitaine. 3,000 francs. Et merci 1000 fois.
I said 2,000. So long. I didn't see the girl come aboard. I was too busy.
He's away on the bowsprit. Aye!
My first passenger, Dr. John Mitchell, stood near me at the wheel, his thinning blonde hair ruffled by the breeze. The
the eyes in his scarred face following the movements of the crewman. Our course to clearing weather and the Tuamotus, sailing full and by. I turned the wheel over to Gallagher and went below to enter our departure in the log.
Are you busy, Matthew?
Oh, nothing important. Come on in, John. Sit down.
Thank you. You wouldn't have... I'm afraid I left the top of my head in Papeete.
You had a good time, huh?
Splendidly depraved. But after all, 2 weeks out of 2 years.
Uh-huh. And now back to Mohotani for another 2.
Oh, yes. I obtained some excellent books this trip. One particularly. I hope you have a chance to read it on the way up.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Menninger's Man Against Himself. There's good and bad in it. I think you'll like it. Well, bung up and bilge free. I saw your other passenger, the female.
That's so?
Yes. Her father is Robert Bonet, the government resident in the Marquesas. You haven't seen her yet?
Not yet. Gallagher put her in her cabin.
She's older than when I saw her last. Very nice. Awfully nice.
Hands off, John. She's trouble.
Yes, I heard about it. Amazing what happens to these children when civilization gets its cultured talents into them. It's a shame she couldn't have left her Marquesan blood at home.
Another one, John?
No, thanks. I think I'll go up on deck and say goodbye to Pepita. I'll bring you the book at dinner.
Right.
Yes?
Captain Kincaid.
Come in.
You comfortable?
Comfortable? Yes.
Look, I know about your trouble in Papeete. Let's forget about it. We've got 9 or 10 days ahead of us. Everything will be fine.
I don't want to go back to Hiva Oa.
I'm sorry. I want you to stay in your cabin as much as possible. We eat at 6 in my cabin, okay?
Okay.
I was angry when I left. Because she was the loveliest thing I'd ever seen. And because she knew I couldn't look at her without staring. I didn't want to stare. So I didn't look at her very much. I relieved Gallagher at the wheel. The feel of a ship in deep water again is a good thing, but it wasn't this time. I knew there were too many explosives aboard. I should have turned the wheel back to Tahiti then.
Salt, Skipper.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Of course.
Red, did you check the generator?
Since when did I forget?
I was asking, mate.
I checked it.
You know, Matthew, I don't think Miss Bonet remembers me. I used to see her running on the beach when she was a very little child.
Oh, I remember you, Doctor. You would be so difficult to forget. I mean, those terrible scars on your face.
Have you finished?
Yes, thank you.
Then get back to your cabin.
What's the matter, Skipper? She didn't mean anything, you know that.
Forget it, Red.
Isn't she good enough for your company? She's good enough for mine.
Forget it.
Why don't you let her out of that coop, get her up on deck? You know it's hot in there.
Drink your coffee, mate.
from her, mister!
I'm sorry, John. Doesn't matter. No. Really. It doesn't. I've lived with this face for a long time. One gets used to surface scars.
Those inside?
Well, I've got my island, Otani. I don't have to see people for years on end if I don't want to. And you, Matthew, you've got your ship.
That's right.
I've often wondered what you're running...
I picked up some cognac. Let's have a drink.
Love to. I say, I brought you the book, Man Against Himself.
From that first night on, she was fed in her cabin. I didn't want to see her. And I didn't want Gallagher or anybody else to see her. 3 days out, we raised the 2 Omotus and began the dirty business of picking our way through the hundreds of coral reefs and heads, which, with the islands, make up the group. But with those boxes in hold number 2, it was like the first time.
Go to left. Hi. By the deep. Pull. Taut your helm. Steady as she goes.
For 3 years, Gallagher and I had sailed and worked the southern waters.
By the mouth. Hi.
There'd been words before, and women, too. But now, except for ship talk, there weren't any words. And that was bad.
By the mark! Sit!
By nightfall, we'd cleared the reefs and were sailing free, with the southeast trades on our starboard quarter. I stood the 8 to 12 wheel watch. What are you doing on deck?
Sorry. It was hot. I hope you don't mind the way I dressed. It was so hot.
I don't mind the way you're dressed. What do you want?
I want to go back.
Back?
Anywhere. I don't want to go to Hiva or...
We've been through that.
Take me back, please.
Go on below.
Don't you like me? I'm pretty. I've looked at myself in the mirror, I know. Take me back.
To the sailor in Papiti?
No. I go with you, anywhere.
Look, you go back to Hivaoa. You belong there. Papiti is no good for you. Anywhere is no good for you. You belong on your island with your own people.
I have learned what it is to be French. I know what it is to be a French lady. The way I am not. I'm not good for my people in Hivaoa.
Go below.
Take me back. I want to be a French lady. Why don't you look at me?
Because you're so beautiful, you make me sick. Get away from me or I'll kill you.
Kill me?
You. Get away from me.
It's midnight, Skip. I'll take over.
You are listening to Elliot Lewis as Captain Matthew Kincaid in Gil Dowd and Anthony Ellis's exciting story of the sea, The Log of the Black Parrot. I turned the wheel over to Red, gave him the course, and he repeated it. But he was looking something else. I went below. The girl was in her cabin, and I locked her there. Went into my own quarters, tried to sleep. And the next night, tried to sleep. And the next. And the morning came,
We were one day off the Marquesas, and her cabin door was open.
Matt, wait a moment.
I'm in a hurry.
For what, Matthew?
Get out of my way.
You're too late. She's been out since before dawn. Leave her alone,
It's
Matthew.
not her, it's Gallagher. The ship. What's happening to it? Get out of my way before I finish off what's left of your face. Oh. Get out of my way, will you? Where's the mate, Crowder?
He's up forward, I think.
You think, Crowder?
He's up forward, sir.
Mister! What's that bucket doing on the deck?
I don't know.
It's your business to know. Stow it where it belongs.
Are you kidding? I'm not a deckhand.
Stow it away. You! Get below to your cabin.
All right.
Wait a minute.
We're going back to Pepiti's.
I got a cargo for Hiva, mister. I'm taking it there.
All right. If she stays on the ship, I'll pay her passage back.
She gets off with the cargo.
She's with me now.
I told you to stay away from her.
You told me. You...
I've wanted to do this for a long time.
You had your chance, mister.
Feel better now, Matthew?
Shut up! Bring him around. He takes the wheel in a half an hour. Yeah.
What do you want, John? Gallagher won't be able to stand his watch.
Oh?
He'll be all right. But he'll have to stay in his cabin until tomorrow.
Okay. Sure, I'll tell you. Help yourself.
Sit down, Matthew. Want to have a look at you?
Yeah.
Little more work on your face, and you'd have looked like me.
I'm sorry about that.
Turn your head this way.
Yeah.
This is going to hurt.
Yeah, that'll be different. You know, John, I wish I was a kid right now.
No? Why?
Yeah. So I could bawl my ears off. I must be a little drunk.
Perhaps we should all be drunk. All the time.
Is she in her cabin?
Yes?
Should I have taken her back to Papiti? What's the matter with her? I don't think it's me, and I don't think it's Red. What does she want?
I don't know. If I knew why she so desperately doesn't want to go home, I could tell you, but I don't know.
I gotta take the wheel.
Now, just a moment.
Huh?
It's only plaster, but it may hold your ear on.
Thanks, John. There was a difference in the ship. Almost a relief. The crew was easier. I could feel a lightness again in the deck under my feet, a strength in the pulling canvas. Perhaps it was the fight. Whatever it was, there was a difference in the ship. The girl came out on deck later, in the afternoon. I looked at her because I couldn't. I saw for the first time her hair. Her black hair. And how tiny she was. The blackness of her eyes. The gracefulness in her hands. The delicacy of her feet. Her eyes were on me, but I knew she didn't see me as she passed and moved forward toward the waist of the ship. The crewmen no more than glanced at her and then turned back to their work. She went to the rail.
No! Crowder, stop her! Gordon, take the wheel!
Give me that. Quit it now. Quit it. Take it easy.
All right, I got her.
She went for more deck noise.
Come on. I want the doctor to take care of that cut.
Don't take me back. Please don't make me go home.
Come on. John!
What's the matter? Here, put her over here.
Tried to go overboard. Crowder stopped her, but she got mixed up with his knife.
Move over, let me see.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Now just hold still. That's right. Just a minute. There. There we are. Ah. That didn't hurt very much, did it?
No.
Let me see that, may I? That hurt?
No.
That? No. Matthew. Yeah. You knew about this, didn't you?
Now, you won't make me go to Hiva.
How long has it been?
Half a year, I think. A native in Papita told me.
It'll be all right. Now, don't worry. I'm going to give you something to make you sleep for a while.
I guess there isn't much choice, is there?
There may be another way.
What do you mean?
She could live on Mohotane. There's nobody else on the island.
Except you.
That's right. Oh, I'd marry her if she wanted to. If not, I'd build her a place.
That's not what I mean, John.
Oh, it's not that bad. There's always a chance.
You know what you're saying?
My dear chap, of course I do. As a matter of fact, I'm being rather selfish about the whole thing. She's quite beautiful. You've noticed it. So is Mr. Gallagher.
I can't let you do it, John.
Then you know what's left. Look here, I'm not very prepossessing to look at, I know that. But in a few years, she may not be either. We'd be a great comfort to one another.
Stop it, will you?
You're a strange chap. I think you almost worship beauty. You don't like the idea of her becoming unbeautiful, do you?
Do you?
Surface scars, Matthew. Surface scars. Well, does she stay with me on Mahotane?
I don't know. I'll have to think. The next morning, we anchored off the emerald-shaped island of Mohotane. Hiva-Oa, our final destination, was a cloud-rimmed hump on the northwest horizon. The longboat was put over the side, and loading of John Mitchell's gear and explosives got underway. I looked at the little island, thought of the girl.
Mitchell can go aboard now, Captain.
All right, mate. John, you're ready to go ashore. Here, I'll give you a hand with that.
Thanks. You made up your mind, Matthew?
Yes?
Parrish, steady the ladder. He's coming down.
Goodbye, John.
Goodbye, Matthew. Drop in when you pass this way again.
I'll see you. Gallagher. Yeah? Hold the boat for a few minutes. I'm going below.
Right.
We're at Mohotane.
I know.
Dr. Mitchell is ready to go ashore. You want to go with him?
With him?
Yesterday we talked about you. He wants to take care of you on his island. He'll marry you if you like, or build your house. You'll be close to your people on Hiva-Oa.
He wants this?
He wants it. Otherwise, it would mean the island for you. I can't take you back to Papeete or anywhere else.
He's a very kind man, isn't he?
Yeah.
You would tell my father?
Yes, about this. Not about Papeete.
Oh. There's a priest on Hia'oa. You will send him here.
Sure. I watched the flash of oar blades in the sun as the longboat pulled shoreward. Then I thought of Gallagher. I found him on the port side, looking out at the open sea. She's better off with him, Gallagher.
She would have been better off with me.
Maybe she would if you had an island, lived alone, didn't care.
Didn't care? Are you crazy?
She has leprosy, Red. That's why she didn't want to go home.
Oh,
Skip. Did I do the right thing, Red? It would have meant a leper colony, but he wanted to take care of her, and I let him. Did I do the right thing, Red?
You did the right thing, Skipper.
I'm not sure, Red. Forget it. Forget it.
We'll have a good breeze, Skipper.
Yeah. Yeah, she holds. Come on, let's not waste time. Break out the crew, Red. We'll get the hook off the bottom. And stand by for the longboat under power.
Right, Skipper.
Let's get out of here. The longboat came aboard, and we moved out from the lee of the island and heeled over, close hauled on a starboard tack, under the southeast wind. The bow dipped and rose again in the swell, throwing spray high in the rigging. And then open water, the horizon, and a new course to Port Moresby, island of New Guinea. Log entry. The schooner Black Parrot, 5:30 p.m. Wind fresh. Sky fair. Sea cresting with high cross swell. Main and foresail reefed. Ship secure for night. Signed, Matthew Kincaid, Master.
You are invited to sail into further adventure with a log of the Black Parrot next week at this same time. Ed Max is heard as Red Gallagher, and featured in the cast were Ted Osborne, Lillian Byoff, Harold Hughes, Jack Crucian, and Ben Wright. Music was conducted by Walter Schumann and composed by Nathan Scott. The Black Parrot was produced by Elliott Lewis and directed by Gil Dowd. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Cases of Mr. Ace, starring George Raft.
Ah, Mr. Ace, come in. I'd given you up for the night.
You're not alone, Dr. Gale. There were a couple of minutes back there when I'd given myself up for good.
As close as that?
Closer.
Well, come on into the kitchen. Coffee's perking. Can't you find a less dangerous way to make a living than being a private detective?
Sure, but then who'd supply you with your material for your book on criminal psychology?
Sugar?
Sweet and black.
Here you are.
Thanks.
Incidentally, the book is coming very well. thanks to the unorthodox point of view I get on the criminal mind through your eyes. Well, what happened to you tonight?
What happened tonight seems to have started with a man named Judas.
Judas? You mean Judas Iscariot from the Bible, of course.
That's the guy, Dr. Gale, the world's most notorious stool pigeon. But it took 2,000 years for it to catch up to me.
Well, I'm listening, Mr. Ace. I'm listening.
The Cases of Mr. Ace, starring George Rapp, and produced and directed by Jason James.
I hadn't been in my office over on 6th Avenue for more than 10 minutes when the hall door opened just wide enough to admit a man's eye. From where I sat, I could see it was steel blue, and when the door opened a little wider, I could see that the eye belonged to a very tall, very thin, very blond man. I waved him in.
My name, sir, is Doran. Richard Doran of Doran and Stanton, 5th Avenue Importers. Dealers in objects of art, curios, and such.
What can I do for you?
I want you to deliver a package to a gentleman in Chicago.
Go on.
That's all there is to it.
I see. My name is Ace, Edward Ace, sole owner of Ace Investigations, 6th Avenue, New York. Dealer in homicide, matricide, and patricide, and also in the gentler forms of crime. What you want is a worthy boy working his way through reform school. Now, I know just such a lad who would...
This is no ordinary package, Mr. Ace. I'm willing to pay a fee of, say, $1,500 for its safe delivery.
What you want is a man named Ace. That the package under your arm?
Yes.
What's in it? An atom bomb?
Not quite, but something perhaps equally as explosive.
Go on.
It contains the most priceless item ever to come into the possession of Doran and Stanton.
You still haven't told me what it is.
I didn't intend to.
I don't like working in the dark. What's it worth? In dollars and cents, I mean.
I have consented to sell it to a British gentleman named Colonel Amherst for $150,000.
You could get a lot of explosion out of that kind of scratch. Is the dingus insured?
Unfortunately, Mr. Ace, it is not possible to apply for insurance.
I see what you mean.
Yes, the dingus, as you call it, has had a most checkered and colorful career.
Mostly blood red, I suppose.
You put things so obliquely, Mr. Ace. But you're quite right. For many years, Doran and Stanton have kept it hidden away. Now, Colonel Amherst may have the joy of possession and the fear. You will find him registered at the Ambassador East. Deliver the package, collect the money, and return to me here in New York.
Why don't you take it to Chicago yourself, or have the colonel come here?
I will be frank, sir. Neither of us wishes to assume the risk. I would advise you to go armed, if you accept the assignment. Shall I give you a check for your fee?
How much cash do you have with you?
$250. Why?
I'll take that. The balance when I return from Chicago with your money.
Excellent. Here is your retainer, and here is the package. I also have your transportation. You leave on the Commodore Vanderbilt tonight, car 57, compartment E. Good luck, Mr. Ace.
Just one more thing, Mr. Duran. How do you know you can trust me?
If you are wise, Mr. Ace, you will give me no reason to regret my trust.
The package he left in my care was no larger than a pound box of candy. That evening, box under my arm pressed close to the gun in my shoulder holster, I boarded the Commodore Vanderbilt. I just relaxed in my bunk when the door to my compartment opened. I looked up from my berth into the face of a small, fragile-boned man. His hair was glossy and deep black. His eyes were glossy and deep black. But it wasn't his bones or his hair or his eyes that really interested me. It was his right hand. In it, there was a gun. From where I lay, it looked mighty big.
You will please clasp your hands together at the back of your neck.
Now, wait a minute. I never even met your sister.
I intend to take the package. If you make one move, I'll be forced to shoot you.
That makes a problem. You can't get the package unless I do move. It's under my mattress.
Oh, how clumsy. This place is so small. I forgive me. I am reluctant to permit you to rise. Of course, I could shoot you and kill you now and then roll you over and take the package.
But you won't, because you're not sure it is under the mattress. And if you don't find it there, I won't be alive to tell you where it is.
Yes, I suppose you are right. I can never think these things through clearly. Very well, I have no alternative. You will follow my instructions very closely, sir. Now you put your right leg on the floor, Mr. Ace. Slowly. That's it. Now, sir, roll over very gently on the floor with your side, so. Slowly keep your hands on that.
All right, get up. I won't shoot.
Oh, what an idiot I am. A stupid, imbecile bungler. I knew it. I had a premonition you would grab at my leg. And there I stand and permit you to do it. The stupid, idiotic bungler.
Don't break me up. Get going. Outside.
Where are you taking me?
For a little fresh air.
You will not, please do not be angry with me, Mr. Ace.
Get out on the platform.
I beg you, Mr. Ace. I am harmless, impotent, incompetent. Yes, that's what I am.
All right, who sent you?
No one, Mr. Ace. No.
Who sent you?
Please do not hit me again.
Who sent you?
I cannot bear it. I'm alone, all alone. I'm a coward, Mr. Ace. I have no one.
Okay. Over you go.
No. Put me down, please.
Who sent you?
I swear it. No one.
Okay, Flat Tap. Relax.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Stay out of my way. Next time we meet, I'll toss you overboard.
Yes, quite right. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I left the little man shivering out on the platform and went back to my compartment. And just as I walked into the room, that's when I really got it. I don't know how long I was out. When I opened my eyes, the small room looked as though it had been searched. It had. And the package was gone. The train was just pulling into some jerkwater stop. I got off, had my skull patched up by the local druggist, and hired a hack to drive me back all the way to New York. 2 hours later, I got out in front of the Duran Stanton shop on Fifth Avenue. There was a small light burning inside. I opened the door and went in. There was quite a crowd in there. All of them were cops. Detective Lieutenant Walsh of Homicide came forward. He had been talking to the sultriest-looking doll I had seen since Minsky closed his door.
Well, hello, Ace. Are we in for imported art now?
I want to talk to Duran.
Yeah, you can talk to Duran if you like, but he won't answer you. He's dead.
What did he die of?
A hole in the head. 2 bullets went through it.
Got a smear on it yet?
Dull case of burglary. They jimmied the back door. Duran was upstairs with his wife here. They heard the noise. He came down to investigate. Bang, bang. A very dead Mr. Duran.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Mrs. Duran.
Thank you, Mr.
Ace. Eddie Ace.
You said you wanted to see my...
Nothing important, Mrs. Duran. I won't bother you now. You suffered a bad shock.
You're very understanding, Mr. Ace. I tried to stop my husband from going down. He wouldn't listen. But Is there something I can do for you, Mr. Ace?
Well, not right now. I mean, Mr. Duran was just going to show me a Chinese ring. May I come to see you in a few days, Mrs. Duran?
Please do.
Oh, by the way, have you heard from Colonel Amherst?
Colonel Amherst. I don't know the gentleman.
All right, watch it, Eddie. Mrs. Duran, I think you'd better go upstairs now. The boys are going to bring the I mean, we have to take the...
Yes, I understand. Thank you for your thoughtfulness. Goodbye, Mr. Ace. Please call again. And if I should hear from a Colonel Amherst, I'll tell him to call you.
Mrs. Duran left the shop. She hesitated briefly at the door, glanced over her shoulder at me once, and then was gone. Walsh's boys brought the stiff out of the back room. I took a quick gander at it, then a longer one. It was a very, very dead Mr. Duran, all right. But it wasn't the man who had come to my office that morning. I guess I'll hit the road, Walsh.
Stick around. Take your hat off.
In respect for the dead?
I'd like to see the rest of that adhesive patch.
Don't be morbid.
Yeah, and maybe ask you a few questions, like what you really came here for at this hour, and where you were an hour ago.
Look, Walsh, just between us. An hour ago, I cracked the back door of the shop and threw a couple of slugs into Duran when he got in my way. I came back to see if I dropped any clues that might lead to me. If you find any, I'll be at my office. Bring 'em up and we'll split 'em 50-50. Well, the little man with the big gun. I thought I took that away from you on the train.
I have many of them, Mr. Rice. First, I must ask you to forgive the liberty I took in entering your office to wait for you. Where else to find you, I did not know. Eventually, you must return here.
All right, eventually I did. What's your problem?
Mr. Rice, I have a grievance. On the train, you caused me a great humiliation. Yes, you did. You slapped my face. You did not even have the decency to punch me. Man-like.
Next time, I promise to punch you. Hard.
There will be no next time, Mr. Rice. For you, I have the greatest resentment. Yes, I have. If you give me the slightest provocation, I promise to shoot you. Really, I will.
All right, once you're cute, twice you're a nuisance.
You will come with me, Mr. Rice.
Where are we going?
He's waiting to speak to you.
Who?
Colonel Gregory Amherst.
Come in, Mr. Ace. Come in, sir. Well done this time. Well done, Leonidas.
Oh, thank you, Colonel. Thank you. It was simple.
Well, sit down, sir. Sit down.
Thanks. Nice layout you got here.
You like it? You really like it, sir? It's so difficult to get proper accommodations these days. And now, sir, to the point. Where is the coin?
The coin.
Precisely.
You mean, the coin that was in the package?
Oh, please, sir, I beg of you, do not blame me for the simpleton. You know full well to which coin I have reference. Now, where is it?
Suppose you tell me. Then we'll both know.
You see, I told you he was uncooperative. I told you...
Gently, Leonidas. We must discuss this calmly.
But don't you see, he's a terrible person, a liar, a thug.
If you don't take this monkey away, Colonel, I'll break his leg.
Now, do be quiet, Leonidas, or I shall let him break your leg. A bizarre thought indeed. Now, sir, I shall put it bluntly, concisely, and simply. I believe you have the coin. I believe that you and Stanton, Duran's partner, are working together. And you both mean to hoodwink Duran, simulate a theft on the train, and then dispose of the coin, sharing the proceeds between you and Stanton.
So you got a phony coin when you slugged me on the train.
You know full well I did, sir.
You see how he twits us?
Be quiet, Leonidas.
I thought you were supposed to be in Chicago waiting for the coin.
That was the business arrangement. But you cannot blame me for coming here before the coin was delivered in an effort to save a little money.
And you even knew which train and compartment I'd be occupying.
In my business, sir, I must know many things. I even know when I'm beaten and forced to pay. And that time has come. I shall pay.
How much?
$50,000.
The price was $150,000.
That was when I planned on taking it by storm. Now I am willing to tender wealth to the realm. A quantitative and relative difference.
If you can say that again, you've got a deal. On one condition.
Yes?
That first you tell me what this coin is all about.
Tell you what? You mean you don't? That Stanton hasn't told you what?
It's a trick. He's slippery. He's lying.
Oh, my soul. This is priceless. Priceless. Here I sit and bargain with you for you. Oh, this is indeed priceless.
Go ahead. Have your fun. You know what the coin is. I don't. But I know where it is. You don't. I'm still in the driver's seat.
Indeed you are, sir. Oh, forgive me. I must dry my eyes. Very well, sir. I shall show my good faith.
Please, Colonel, I beg you, be careful what you say. He's a thug, a liar, a scoundrel, and every... He struck me again. He struck me again.
Yes, and it served you well. Now do be quiet.
I hate him.
You were saying, Colonel?
The coin. Yes, tell me, sir. What do you think it is?
Come to the point.
To the point. Tell me, sir, how much do you know of your Bible?
I told you I'm in no mood
I
for...
do not ask idly, sir. It is very much to the point. You know, of course, of one Judas Iscariot, the great betrayer? Yes. And for his betrayal, he received from the Roman authorities his promised wage, 30 pieces of silver. Now then, that was 2,000 years ago. Mark well what I am about to say, sir. There are in the collections of numismatists certain coins of antiquity dating back to the days of the pharaohs, 2,000 years before the day of the great betrayal. Now, sir, you begin to comprehend.
I'm still listening.
Very well. To the point. Of all the 30 pieces of silver paid to Judas Iscariot, only one, I say, has been unearthed. The rest, for all we know, have gone into the dust of the bones of the Judas. But that one coin, sir, with the imperial head and arms of Caesar stamped upon it, has been sought for, fought for, killed for, and died for through bloody century after century. Now, what do you say to that, sir?
I say you're nuts.
But my $50,000 says otherwise, Mr. Ace. And now, sir, the coin, if you please.
I'll have to see Stanton first.
You see, he cannot be trusted.
Is Leonidas correct in his analysis of your character, sir?
Sure, but I still have to see Stanton first.
Very well. There's nothing for it, I suppose. As added inducement, sir, a bonus of $10,000 for yourself. We needn't advise Mr. Stanton of it. If you deliver the coin to me here before dawn. I sail with the tide for Montevideo.
I'll try to earn the 10G. Amherst didn't have the coin. Stanton was on the loose. He might or might not have it, if it existed at all. It had to be someplace. I hustled on back to the shop of Duran and Stanton. I never got a good look at the little man who was tailing me. Every time I glanced back, he had his face draped in a foreign language newspaper. I made sure he was still pounding along behind me when I turned in at the door of Duran and Stanton. I didn't expect it to be opened. I was wrong. I didn't expect to find anyone there. I was wrong again.
What do you want?
I walked slowly to the kid at the far end of the shop. She was no more than 16 or 17, and her face was white. Her eyes loaded with fear. She stood in front of the safe under a small yellowish light.
What do you want?
I looked carefully for her gun in her right hand.
Why?
It's always these frightened, white-faced kids who really let you have it. She was unarmed. I let my breath out and closed in on her.
Scream! I'll call the police.
I'm the police. Who are you? What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm Elsie Duran,
You mean Mrs. Duran is your mother?
my stepmother. I was up at school when I heard that my father had been... I came here at once.
What were you looking for in the safe?
The safe?
Or were you putting something in it?
Like what?
Look, infant, no time for guessing games now. Give me a small package. There, that'll do it. You stay here. Put out that light now. Don't leave till I get back. Keep the door locked.
But why? I don't understand.
Take this gun. If anybody breaks in, use it. And tuck that gold chain you're wearing around your neck and side of your dress. It might tangle your gun arm when you need it.
But I've never fired a gun before.
Baby, you'll be surprised how naturally it'll come to you if you have to. I left the kid in the shop, strolled down 5th across 34th to my office on 6th. The little man on my tail had dusted. I took my time. I figured there'd be somebody waiting for me at my office. There was. I figured he'd be holding a gun on the door. He was. I figured it would be the little man. It wasn't.
All right, Mr. Ace. I'll take that package.
What name are you wearing now, Stanton?
Give me that package.
You're sure you want it? Your life is a mighty high price to pay for it.
You forget. I'm holding the gun.
Okay, be headstrong. Here's the package.
That's better, Mr. Ace.
All the time I was talking to Stanton, I watched the little man across the street, the foreign language paper still covering his face. After Stanton left my office, I watched for him through the window. He came out of my building. I didn't hear the shot, but I saw the gun flash as it fired. Stanton slumped to the pavement. By the time I made it downstairs, the little man was far away, and so was Stanton. His body was still lying where it had fallen. The street was deserted. His wallet had been frisked to make it look like a clumsy holdup. The package, of course, was gone. I picked up the wallet, cased the contents. Among the usual stuff, there was a small clipping on glossy paper. It was a crude picture of a coin. The caption under it read, "Coin of Judas." I didn't have to rack my brain to figure out where I'd seen it before.
Who is it?
Ace, open up, and don't shoot.
Oh, Mr. Ace, I've been so frightened.
Give me that gold chain from your neck.
My chain?
Stop playing simple. You can keep the chain after I've taken the coin from the end of it.
So you know I have it.
I must have been blind not to knowing it before. Did your father give you the coin?
Yes. He told me to keep it at school. It was the safest place. But after I'd heard he'd been killed, Mr. Ace, look out!
No need for alarm, my dear.
You see, Colonel, I told you he is
Gently, Leonidas. Well, Mr. Ace, I must say I'm disappointed in you. I did consider you a man of some peculiar honor.
That was your idea.
I sent Leonidas with $50,000, coin of the realm, sir, to purchase from you, open and above board, the coin. And what am I given for this honorable gesture? This, sir, 2 tortoiseshell combs.
They'll look cute on Leonidas.
This time, sir, I mean business. This gun will underscore my intention. Now, the coin, Mr. Ace, and my $50,000.
You're not even amusing, you fat clown. Leonidas never gave me 50 cents. He knocked off Stanton for those combs.
Leonidas? Why, that was most headstrong of you, most headstrong. Coming to me with his package and telling me...
It was all an error, my dear Colonel. I intended to return the money to you. But in my distress over learning that I had failed in my mission, it just slipped my mind.
A mind like a ski run.
Then before it slips your mind again, my dear fellow, I suggest...
Yes. Here it is, Colonel.
I shall deal with you later, Leonidas. Well, Mr. Ace?
I've got the coin.
At last.
Excellent.
At last, that's wonderful.
But I can't sell it to you. You'll have to deal with Mrs. Duran and her stepdaughter. It belongs to them.
Oh, my dear Ace, you are indeed the soul of honor. But the fact of the matter is that Marlene Duran called me after you talked with her, and... Oh, come in, Marlene. I was just telling...
Which one of you killed Stanton?
Marlene, put that ridiculous pistol away.
Which one of you?
It was quite unintentional, Mrs. Duran. A regrettable and melancholy accident. I assure you, I never meant to... Oh.
Here now. I say, Marlene.
And you sent him to do it.
No.
Yes, you did. I'm going to kill you, too.
Hey, for heaven's sake, she's mad. How stupid. How incredibly stupid. Shot down by...
You see, I killed him. I loved Stanton. So I killed his killers.
Yeah. Just like you and Stanton killed your husband. He got wise of the fact that you and Stanton were going to run out on him. So he sent Stanton to deliver the phony package. He knew that Amherst was in New York. He tipped Amherst off, figuring that Leonidas would be sent to kill Stanton for the package. But Stanton was wise to it. He sent me instead. And when he saw that I was attacked, he came back here and killed your husband.
Yes, my husband. And he deserved it.
All right, Marlene. Come along with me.
I'm not going with you, Mr. Ace. Because you and Elsie are going to the morgue.
And so Elsie used my gun to send 2 bullets into Marlene. How do you like that? I'd forgotten the kid was holding it.
But what about Elsie? Won't she have to stand trial for...
No, it's been settled down at headquarters. After all, Marlene did kill 2 men and then threaten Elsie and me with a gun. So, Elsie will be okay.
And what about the coin? Does Elsie keep it?
Yeah, but she's having it melted down.
Into what?
A small silver crucifix.
I see. I like that. Good night, Mr. Ace.
Good night, Dr. Gale.
In a moment, George Raft will be back as Mr. Ace to tell you about next week's case. But first, a brief word from our sponsor.
Thank you. Next week, I'll be telling Dr. Gale about the man who was forced to help his wife's murderer.
Thank you, George. We'll be listening. Tonight's supporting cast included Francis Heflin, Joseph Kearns, Ted Von Eltz, Charlie Lung, Elliot Reed, Mary Jane Croft, and Lorraine Beaumont. The music was composed and conducted by Del Castillo. This is Carlton Cadell speaking and inviting you to listen again next week to George Raft in the cases of Mr. Ace.
This is the story of Holiday Wild. Tonight's adventure, Mr. Fortune and the Court of Shanghai. Shanghai is the heart of central China. Here, ships from every maritime nation in the world drop their cargo into the vacuum of Chinese import. Her streets are clotted by rickshaws, pushcarts, limousines, trucks, swarming with syndicated beggars, rice-powdered sing-song girls, British taipans, French bankers, missionaries, and eager blondes. But there is Holiday Wild, who looks too young and too American, too carefully clothed and coiffured to be jostling through the crowds on Nanking Road. She turns onto King George Road, paralleling Soochow Creek, and stops in front of a dingy address. She looks again at a crumpled piece of paper she's been carrying in her hand. Then, back at the sign over the door.
Soochow Importing Company. I crossed my fingers and hoped the answer to my secret was among the others hidden behind its dirty windows. It was the kind of cluttered Chinese curio shop I'd read about. Dim and smelling of sandalwood. A thin, smooth little man who didn't look right in Occidental clothes and green eyeshade was waiting for me behind the counter.
Yes?
I'm looking for Mr. Lucian Courtney. Have I come to the right place?
That I not say. What's your name?
Holiday Wild.
You come along me.
He shuffled toward the back of the shop. I followed him. We went through a door, and I got my first surprise. We were in a very modernistic apartment.
You wait. I tell Mr. Court you come.
I don't know why, but the name Lucian Courtney had prepared me for a little round man in his 40s and pretty bald. But the man who approached me was nothing like that. Ooh, nothing at all.
Well, hello.
Hello.
This is quite a surprise.
I don't want to take any of your time, Mr. Courtney.
Man can always find enough time, Miss Wilde. Never enough attractive women. Come on over to the bar. That'll be all, Chichen.
Yes, sir, Mr. Court.
Mr. Courtney, I was told you might be able to help me.
That would be nice. I hope I can. It isn't often something like you walks right into my parlor.
Mr. Courtney, this is very important. I came to China to find my father, William Wilde. Do you know him?
Let me see. William Wilde?
He came out to the Orient when I was just a little girl. Then during the war, I got word he'd been killed. But last year, I received what I hope is proof that he wasn't killed. His name appeared in a news item from Shanghai. I kept writing letters, but no answer. So I decided to take my savings and come look for him myself.
You know, you're very beautiful when you get all worked up. Here, slip into something cool.
I was told in Manila that he'd been here and seen with you, Mr. Courtney.
Call me Court.
Do you know where he is?
Me? Oh, he must have been seen with someone who looks like me. Yeah, I'm often mistaken for a man here named Ralph. Ralph Denny. Was your father mixed up in anything illicit?
Of course not.
That's too bad. In Shanghai, that'll make him much more difficult to find. Oh, hey. Don't let that pretty little chin drop. And those lips. You know, baby, they'd look much better in a pucker than a pout. I can still help you. I've got influence with some of Ralph Denny's friends. They're a bit unsavory and a bit unsafe, but they manage to know things. We'll go talk to them.
Oh, that's wonderful. Can we go right now?
That brood of bats never comes out until after dark. So we've got time for another drink and then some dinner. Why don't you just relax? Aren't you comfortable here?
That's just it. I'm afraid I could be too comfortable.
Oh. By the way, how old are you?
How old do you think?
Oh, 19 or 20? How old am I?
Oh, very old. 30, 35?
Thanks. Well, here's to youth and old age. You know, Miss Wilde, being out here alone in the Orient, you'll have to take a lot of chances.
I've taken chances.
You may have to take a lot more.
I'll take a lot more. It was some time later, after dinner, that the music started. It threw me over to a door that opened onto some back steps leading down to the water. The moon had come up. Sochow Creek was jammed with Chinese boats of all sizes and descriptions, tied to the banks and to one another. Lanterns flickered in some of them, and others were dark.
I suppose they're just as amazed at the way we live.
Those boats are their homes, aren't they?
More than that, some of them. Their whole lives. They're born on them, make love on them, die on them. Leave them to their children so they can do the same.
And the music?
Every night. Some people don't like it. I'm afraid I do.
I'm afraid I do, too.
Holly.
What's that?
That? Oh. Every night during the full moon, the great gong in the temple of the goddess of love, Tao Ping, sounded to call young lovers together from all corners of Shanghai.
Oh, how wonderful.
So are you. Everything about you. Oh, Holly.
Cord.
Court, it's all arranged for the shipment tomorrow night.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I did not mean to interrupt.
Have you forgotten how to knock on doors, Irina?
You never bother to knock on mine, darling. Well, who have we here?
We have a guest. Miss Wilde, this is Irina Kusova, my secretary.
Yes, his secretary.
We were just listening to the music from the water.
Yes, I know every note of that music. But to find someone like you here, so young, so innocently dressed. Oh, but what is this?
This pen?
It does not seem in character with such innocence.
My father gave it to me a long time ago.
Of course. How protective of him. He gave you a saber-shaped pin to defend yourself. Or is it to cut out men's hearts?
Skip it, Irina. Miss Wilde and I have business. We're just leaving. Suppose you stay here and tidy up the place.
Me? I am no servant. Why, you can't talk to me like that.
Sabaka!
Holly, quick, let's get out of here before that vase starts flying. Come on. Oh, expensive vase.
What about her?
Expensive woman.
Mr. Courtney, your little curio shop is full of surprises.
Yeah. One of the most curious corners in Shanghai. But, baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Come on, let's go looking for your daddy. Well, Holly, we've tried every other dive in town. Might as well try this one. Oops, careful.
What is this place?
They call these the 13 steps down to heaven.
Dark.
This is one of those places in Shanghai where the clouds gather underground.
Who are we looking for here?
A large and untidy gentleman known as Wong Fortunio. Better known as Mr. Fortune.
Yes?
The court of Shanghai desires an audience with Mr. Fortune.
You wait.
Court, do you think he's a friend of my father's?
I'd hardly call Mr. Fortune a friend of anybody.
Good evening, Mr. Court.
Hello, Fortune. Come on in, Holly. It's all right.
Welcome, my flower, and may you enjoy a pleasant dream.
Thank you.
This way, please.
We're not here for any pleasant dreams tonight, Fortune. I'm trying to help this young lady.
Of course. He brought you to the right place. They do not call me Mr. Fortune for nothing.
Fortune, ever heard of William Wilde?
Why do you wish to know?
I've got my reasons.
He's my father. I've got to find him.
Your father, my little rosebud. Interesting.
Do you know where he is?
No. But, Mr. Court, I propose you have a word with Francine. She knows the men who pass through Shanghai, perhaps better than anyone. You will find her, of course, in the forbidden room.
Think she could tell me anything?
Of course. If she's not too deep in her pleasant dream.
Court.
No, Holly. You better wait here.
And now, Passion Flower, you will come with me.
The room we'd been in was bad enough, but the hallway was worse. Filled with darker shadows and still darker, sweet, sickish smell. I had a feeling that girls who walked this passage would never completely return. Oh, but other girls didn't have Lucian Courtney nearby. I knew I could call him in case of real trouble. And the real trouble began as soon as we were in Mr. Fortune's private room.
Now, my flower, allow me to help you with your coat.
We'll dispense with the informalities, if you don't mind.
Come, let us not pretend, my blossom. I will take your coat.
Stop it.
Now, just one little kiss.
Court!
I hear you. Knows better than to interrupt. I know too much about his business affairs. Much I could tell the authorities. You are not the first little flower he has brought into my garden of dreams. But you are the most appealing, the most exciting.
Take your dirty, filthy hands off.
Beautiful, I cannot resist you.
It was a nightmare. Didn't seem real that it was me that was locked in that evil little room with that horrible big man.
Here, you cannot get away from me.
For a moment, I did get away from him, but part of my jacket didn't. I was sick inside and scared and mad all the same time. When I saw him coming at me again, so I fought with everything I had. My nails, my teeth, and even my feet. As you recall, I glanced around quickly for help. And the help nearest at hand was suddenly in my hand, a fat bronze Buddha.
All right, my wildflower. I have had enough of your tricks. Come here.
I want you to get away. Get away. Get away!
Holly.
Oh, Court, thank God you're here.
What have you done?
What have I done? Animal, he tried.
Well, whatever he tried to do, it looks like he gave him the worst of it. See that face? It's a mess. Where's your coat?
It's all.
Get it. Get out of here.
But my jacket is torn. He still has part.
I'll bring it. Get going. Wait for me outside. Holly,
Court, over here.
come on. Here's the rest of your jacket.
Thanks.
Get in.
Court, my pin.
Your what?
My saber pin. It isn't on the jacket.
No, we can't go back for it now. I'll buy you another. You put up quite a fight for a featherweight, don't you?
Why did you leave me alone with him?
I had to. It was better that way. Thought I could learn more from Francine.
What did you find out?
He was too far gone. Sorry.
Court, why did you take me there? You seem much more concerned with what happened to that horrible man than what happened to me.
Holly, believe me, I had no idea Fortune was going to make a play for you.
I don't know what to believe about you. I don't know what your business is. I don't know why you take girls to Mr. Fortune. I don't know what you're trying to do with me.
Baby, calm down. You want me to find your father? I'll find him for you.
I don't think you will. I don't think you can. All I want you to do is drive me to my hotel and leave me there. When I got to my room, I locked the door, slipped out of my clothes, and fell into bed. When I fought my way to sleep, to try to escape the Shanghai nightmare of reality, I didn't escape it for long. It seemed I just dozed off when I heard the door, but the midday sun was streaming in. Just a minute. I slipped into my robe and unlocked the door.
There she is, Inspector. There is your precious Miss Wilde. Perhaps you can tame her.
Are you Holiday Wilde?
Yes.
My credentials. Sit down, Miss Wilde. I want to talk to
You ask her, Inspector. You see she's the woman you want.
Yes, thank you, Miss
And but be
Silver.
careful, Inspector. She has a very persuasive manner with men.
Miss Wilde,
Yes?
have you ever seen this?
Why, yes. It's my pin, my saber pin.
And now, of course, you will ask him with great surprise where he found it. As if you did not know.
I don't know. I lost it.
Well, Miss Wilde, I found it, protruding from the throat of a gentleman you visited shortly after midnight. The unfortunate Mr. Fortune. I'm sorry, Miss Wilde, but I must place you under arrest for murder.
You are listening to Mr. Fortune and the Court of Shanghai, with Gerald Moore as Court and starring Gloria Blondell as Holiday Wilde.
The inspector didn't waste any time. In 20 minutes, I was being led to a cell in Shanghai's city jail, thanks to my saber pin, which had killed Mr. Fortune, and thanks to Irene, who had evidently followed Court and me and either recognized my pin or used it, or both, and thanks to my tough luck in meeting Lucian Courtney. But now I didn't think much of my chances of finding my father with me in a jail cell.
There you are, Miss Wilde. And if there's anything you want, don't bother to ring.
Don't let the old goat scare you, honey.
The girl who spoke certainly looked more at home in that cell than I felt. But she was company. And her voice was sort of musical, after the manner of a honky-tonk piano.
There I was, minding my own business. I couldn't even lift a finger if I wanted to. Couldn't even see. And they're holding me as a material witness. I couldn't even witness the material in the suit the guy was wearing. But I won't be in here much longer. Two bits I get bailed out today by a real gentleman, too. What a doll he is. Big ammunition operator. Lucky he was there last night when it happened. Here, have a cigarette. Had to give the guard my earrings to get them for me. Hope they pinch his ears. Here.
Thanks.
They're English, but they're better than nothing. What are you in for, huh? Did you get a parking ticket?
Afraid not. They think I killed a man.
Oh, you too, huh? Well, I should have about 4 years ago when that fat hunk of slime trotted me down them 13 steps to heaven. But last night somebody did the job for me.
Who are you?
I don't know why I shouldn't tell you. The name's Francine.
You?
Yeah, me. Back in Wilkes-Barre, I was Fanny Sinclair, but when Fanny went out of style as her first name and I come over to Shanghai, I went native. Around here, that's pretty easy to do.
Van Sin.
Yeah?
Van Sin, have you ever heard of William Wilde?
Wild Bill Wilde? Hey, why does suddenly everybody want to know, do I know Bill Wilde?
Do you?
Like I was telling Cord last night, he's the gentleman that's going to spring me
Wait.
out. Huh?
Did you say Court?
Oh, he's a doll. Like I was saying to him last
Where's
night.
my father?
Your father?
Yes, Wild Bill, where is he? Please.
Come on, little birdie. Out of your gilded cage.
See what I mean, hon? I'm sprung.
Not you. You. Come on, out with you.
Please, just a minute. I've got to talk to this girl.
If you want to talk to her, you can come back later. She ain't going to fly away.
Oh, please, Van Sin.
Hon, if you really want to find your old man, first go find my friend Lucian Courtney.
Okay, Courtney. Here she is.
Court.
Hello, Angel. Took a little doing, but you're free. Come on, let's get out of here.
But, Court,
I've got influence. Happens that Chief Jail owed me a few favors. That plus a few dollars American can buy almost anything in this part of the world.
Court,
Yeah?
I was in the same cell with your friend Van Sin.
Oh? Angel, I don't know what she told you, but don't believe her.
Then you did talk to her last night. Where is my father?
Look, we'll find him. Now you're released in my custody for just a couple of hours. You're really in trouble.
But you know
I
didn't.
know you didn't kill him. But they've got the murder weapon. That's all the evidence they need.
But this is impossible.
No, Angel. This is Shanghai, and I'm getting you out of it. Come on, let's go to the shop. Here's my car. Chi Chen, you better leave now. Go to the warehouse. I'll meet you there.
Okay, Mr. Court.
And lock up the shop after you.
Yes, sir.
Oh. We might as well go back in the apartment and be comfortable, huh? Ah, here we are. Sit down. That couch should feel softer than your jail cot.
What am I going to do, Court?
Leave it to me, Angel.
I left it to you before, and look what happened.
I know, baby, and I want to make it right by you.
But how can you help me now?
All right, look. I've got a shipment of arms going north by truck tonight. I should be going with it, but I'll send Irina. Then I'll get you out of town. I hear that Ralph Denny is in Putong up the river. We'll go find him and see what he knows about your father. We'll take my boat and go up tonight. You'll be safe, Angel. Okay, Holly?
Oh, Court, I don't know. They're playing that music again.
You will let me help you, won't you?
You mean let you take me away with you tonight?
I'll get you out of Shanghai. You'll be safe on the boat. Well?
We don't have much time, do we?
Now, this is how we'll do it. You go back to your hotel and pack, and then catch a rickshaw down here.
But what about the police? Am I free to go about like that?
You'll be followed. They'll follow you to the front door of the shop. And they'll wait for you out there. They'll have a nice long wait, because you're going out this back door right here. At exactly 10, Chi Chen will bring my boat to the steps.
Where will you be?
And you and Chi Chen will pick me up at a wharf just north of the city. Okay?
Okay. Oh, Court. Here I am trusting you again.
Holly, baby. Oh. You better go. We haven't much time. But we will, Angel. We will.
Now I was an escaped prisoner, again thanks to Lucian Courtney. But I had nowhere else to turn, so I followed Court's instructions. They were simple enough. But what I didn't know was that Chi Chen had not left the shop when we'd come in. He'd stayed to overhear our conversation. And while I was busy at the hotel packing, some other plans were being made by Irina. She'd joined Chi Chen in one of those little houseboats tied up in the canal behind Court's place.
Then they left together?
Yes, Missy.
Where did they go?
He drive her to hotel. Then he is going to warehouse to load guns in trucks.
So he planned to load me into the truck, too, while he takes that little American pigeon. After all these years, he throws me away like a cur dog. I'd do something about that. Here, I pay you for coming to tell me.
Oh, Well, I'm surprised. You pay more than our bargain.
Yes, and there is more. This time I pay you so you don't talk. Chichen.
Yeah?
You go do everything like they say. You get the boat, you go to the back door of the shop. Only I be on the boat, too. With this.
Oh, you have Mr. Court's gun.
What better gun to kill his fine, tender American pigeon? When she comes out that door, she does not come farther. But you and I, we go pick up Court and tell him the police find her and send her back to America with the information about Court and the guns. And who would even notice one more body floating here in Sucha Creek?
It was almost 10 when I turned off the Nanking Road and approached the Su Chow Importing Company for the last time. The moon was hidden by low, fast-moving clouds, and I could just make out the figure of 2 policemen who had been following me. I felt my way through the darkened curio shop with its smell of sandalwood and herbs, the apartment in the rear.
Hello, Angel.
Gord, what are you doing here?
You are a gorgeous thing, Holly.
I thought you said you were going out. Has there been a change in your plans?
Yes, slight one. You aren't going with me.
Gord, what's the matter?
I've been sitting here thinking. Holly, I've played a rotten trick on you.
What, Gord?
Listen. You had me on the hook from the first moment I saw you. So I went out of my way to keep you on mine.
Gord.
Let me finish. To tell you that nothing like you ever happened to me before, that's just using words. I want you to believe it.
I don't know what to believe. You were taking me to find that Mr. Denny.
You can believe this. There's no Ralph Denny. There never was. He was a name. He was bait. That's how I kept you with me. That and a fair fortune. Yeah, you smashed the fat boy's face all right, but I had to use your saber pin to finish him off. I've been waiting for the chance. And this way it looked like you did it in self-defense. But don't worry. I told you I had influence. I've had the local law tipped off. It'll be simple for them to figure out that I did it and let them try to catch me.
And you don't have any lead on my father, do you?
Yes, Angel, I do. I had it before you arrived in Shanghai.
Of course.
And I'd been told you'd show up for it, but nobody told me what you were or what would happen to me. Sure, I know your father, and frankly, I hate him. Let's just say we never got along and let it go at that. Here. Here's the name of a man in Hong Kong. He was with your father last week. You'll find him at the Empress Hotel.
Gord,
Chi Chen's right on time. That's my boat. You'll be surprised to see me come aboard instead of you. I'm kind of surprised myself.
I wish it had been different. I wish there had been a Ralph Denny for us to go to see.
Drop it. You're going out the front door, I'm going out the back.
That gong. It's the goddess, you said. Calling the lovers.
Is that what I said? Sorry. It's the Riverfront Fire Watch calling the Shanghai Fire Department. Oh, Holly, I started out wanting you. I wound up wanting you. Nice going, good girl. So long, Angel.
By noon the next day, I checked out of the hotel and arranged passage for Hong Kong. It was a small steamer, and I was glad there were no formalities for the sailing. I stood alone on the boat deck and watched Shanghai fade into my past. I knew that Wright had won out, this time with the help of mistaken identity and some gunshots that were meant for me. Wright had won out as it's always supposed to.
But it was a pretty tough price to pay for a guy like Court. And a girl like me.
Next week at this time, listen for The Missing Man of Hong Kong, the next adventure in the story of Holiday Wild. Gloria Blondell is starred as Holiday Wild, and tonight you heard Gerald Moore as Court. Bea Benaderet played Irina, and Jack Cushan was Mr. Fortune, with Ann Tobin as Fan Sin and Ben Wright, the inspector. Music scored and conducted by Richard Orant. Holiday Wild comes to you from Hollywood. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.